A massive crack tore open across the sky, a crimson light searing outward from within. A voice spoke, calm yet foreboding, one day. The fissure widened and grotesque, warped monsters surged forth from its depths. The narration continued, a wing of destruction has been unleashed. They ravaged everything in their path. From the world known as the demon realm, these merciless, savage creatures spilled into existence, their presence echoing with menace. At the same time, those with supernatural abilities rose to meet them in battle, the voice recounting their struggle. Then came the awakening of hunters, ordinary people transformed into warriors of extraordinary power. The clashes were fierce, the air thick with the reverberation of combat. Individuals infused with mana wielded unique abilities, each strike a testament to their awakening. A figure in black swung a blade, its arc slicing the air, and the voice intoned, "It is because of them that humanity can fight back." Sunlight pierced the darkness over a city cloaked in shadow, and the voice continued, as time passed, the cities were rebuilt. Though problems still lingered, at least more people could enjoy ordinary, peaceful lives. A blond man appeared, shield in hand, facing the monsters, but the narration faltered slightly, hinting at impending peril. With decisive strength, the blond man thrust his sword toward the advancing monsters, the voice declaring, to stop the relentless onslaught of these creatures. He fought on, unaware that a colossal, many-eyed monster was charging from behind. The beast swallowed him whole, crimson fluid splattering across the street. The voice intoned solemnly, "Even the number of naturally awakened hunters remains far too few." Something strange stood silhouetted against the light, its shape alien and unnatural. The narration explained, thus it was created. A red light flashed from the bizarre form, and the voice resounded, "These were the artificial beings, the Chimera Hunters." The Chimera Hunter annihilated everything before it, explosions shaking the void around it. A person lay on a table beside a giant python. The voice began recounting the process of their creation. Experimental materials drawn from the bodies of executed prisoners and various animals. Purple crystals blazed with a blinding glow. The next components were named, minerals drawn from the portal. Syringes filled with thick violet fluid, the voice continued, along with the cells of monsters themselves. Beneath the ground lay the corpses of countless humans and animals. Before them, a creature rested in a containment tank. A new Chimera Hunter was conceived. The narration declared, humanity's struggle for survival made mass-producing Chimera Hunters a reality. Images flashed of a man in a flowing white coat and a muscular figure clasping hands. The voice proclaimed, "This is the ideal collaboration between the scientific community and the hunters, drastically reducing hunter mortality and saving countless lives." High-rise structures slowly rose again under the pale light of dawn. The moon shone over a star-filled night sky. The narration echoed, decades later, a voice emerged from within. "At night, in an illegal Chimera research lab, just one more, and we can go home." Two men in white coats entered, flashlights in hand, conversing. B18. The upper-tier Chimera storage. But number 17, his hands partially decomposed already. The slightly overweight man's voice quivered in panic. Hey, do not come any closer." The skinny man, calm and measured, replied, "Relax. Its brain is damaged. It won't move without orders." The overweight man faltered, voice trailing uncertainly. Even so, a Chimera Hunter emerged under the beam of their flashlights. The skinny man's voice echoed in the room. "Look at it, its right arm's completely mangled. Side effect of the experiment, I suppose." Golden eyes flicked over the two men talking, unafraid. Why fear something you can barely even make out? The two men walked away, their conversation ringing through the room. "Just handle it roughly. Like this, it will be destroyed anyway." "Yeah, just like that." Behind them, the Chimera Hunter gradually sank into shadow, motionless and contemplative. Somewhere in the office, a voice called out, "Number 17 is useless." The director's office. The skinny man reported, "Its body has already suffered severe damage. If it were any of the others, they would be dead by now." The man with glasses frowned, probing, "How much longer can it survive?" The overweight man replied, "At most 1 month, sir." The skinny man nodded in agreement. "I thought so too." The man with glasses let out a small sigh, tinged with regret. "I see. Well then." His face darkened. "Deploy it in the portal blockade operation this time." Keep it as a rear guard while the hunters retreat. The Chimera hunter lifted its gaze toward the slanting light from above, the voice resonating. It had not been given the order to return. A flock of monstrous birds swooped directly toward the Chimera hunter standing below. The voice rang out, the demon realm. Treacherous highlands. One monstrous bird gaped wide, revealing a jaw lined with razor-sharp teeth. Golden threads coiled around the hunter's massive hand, claws stretching long and deadly. With a single sweep, it swung, slicing the monstrous bird into pieces with the golden threads. Chunks of its shattered flesh rained down from above. Simultaneously, another emerged from the ground, jaws agape and teeth glinting, letting out a deafening roar. The Chimera hunter sprang, landing atop the creature's head, catching it completely off guard. Using the claws of its other hand, the hunter carved through the monster's flesh, slicing meticulously. The creature arched its body skyward, gathering energy. A blue light flashed from a sphere forming at its mouth. The Chimera hunter unleashed an attack against everything in front of it. Every monster standing before the hunter was caught in that strike. The sky was a slate gray. Behind the Chimera hunter, 3 figures appeared. The woman froze, exclaiming in awe, "Incredible." The blonde man also voiced his admiration. It destroyed so many monsters in a single strike, truly an S-rank Chimera hunter. The blonde man then glanced toward the swirling portal, curiosity flickering in his eyes. Yet still, the portal showed no sign of closing, even after 3 days. A voice rang out to reassure him, "Do not worry. No matter how many monsters come." The Chimera hunter's previous attack had carved a massive fissure all the way down into the abyss. The voice echoed across the space. With an S-rank Chimera, everything would be under control. A hand rested on a sword. The voice continued, "All we need to do is..." The black-haired man interrupted, swinging at a flying insect. "Just handle the stragglers who slipped through." The portal's twisted shape began shrinking steadily. The blonde man called out to the other 2. "The red portal signal's gone confirmed." The black-haired man responded, "It is done." Their steps quickened, rushing forward. A voice barked, "All right, retreat. Everyone, exit the portal." The Chimera hunter's massive hand smashed into something that appeared, shattering it instantly. The noise drew the woman's attention, and she asked in confusion, "Wait. What about it?" The black-haired man replied, "Leave it. They said not to bring it back." The woman's voice trembled with regret. Was not it expensive to create? The Chimera hunter raised its hand to block a stab. A voice echoed, "It is near the end of its lifespan anyway." The woman glanced back, hesitating. "Pity. If not for it, the losses would have been much greater." The black-haired man replied casually, "What is there to worry about? You know those things are basically inorganic." The Chimera hunter remained alert, scanning everything. The black-haired man's voice resonated. They only act on the orders of their master. Red, thick liquid oozed from the hunter's hand, pierced by a sharp object. It tore through the monster that attacked it. A voice rang out. It was indeed a monster. It fought alone. A voice echoed in the hunter's mind. This mission is to cover the hunter's rear. A faceless monster, mouth gaping wide, advanced rapidly toward it. The Chimera hunter's hand began to gather energy, preparing to strike. A blue light surged from its hand, smashing into the ground and sending shockwaves that shattered the earth beneath. A strange voice reached the Chimera hunter, "Understand." The hunter was struck in return. Its body shattered, green fluid spilling from within. The voice continued, "Nothing more. That means when the mission ends, you won't return." The Chimera hunter's only remaining hand was torn and smeared with filth. A fleeting thought flickered through its mind, ensure the retreat. Complete. Only a fragment of it remained. Around the hunter, fluids poured from its body, spreading across the ground. It was on the brink of death. No, it could not end like this. Its face had been corroded by acid, melting into a grotesque, sagging mess. Inside, a voice echoed, "Return. Go back." A notification appeared. Today, the mission result for Chimera Hunter number 17, deceased. The battlefield was littered with defeated monsters, chaos stretching as far as the eye could see. The notification continued, hunters killed 0. Total monsters eliminated, 1,823. The Chimera Hunter gradually collapsed into a quagmire of sludge. A voice spoke. In the moments before death, number 17 recalled its past, the truth that it had once been a complete human, abducted at the age of 9. A film reel began to play, rewinding, and the narration followed. From that moment, the film of its life ran in reverse before its eyes. Strips of film surrounded the Chimera Hunter. The voice intoned, regrettably, Number 17's damaged brain cannot fully comprehend what it is seeing. The hunter reached out and took one of the film strips in its hand, lifting its face upward. The voice continued, it calmly reviewed its own past. A silver-haired man stood at a train station, speaking softly, 79 years ago, at Orphanage 13, the child's name was. The man interrogated the boy before him, 70 years ago, you hit your friends with a rock just for teasing. How many times has this happened? The door slammed shut, and a few white snowflakes drifted into the empty air. The boy clutched someone, stepping outside, as a scolding voice called from behind, this place can't hold you anymore. The boy fell face down on the cold snow, lying long enough for snow to settle over him. Two men parked their car in front of him, talking. In the slums, it is easy to find children on the streets. Huh, how old is this one? Soon, it shifted to the boy being tightly restrained, pressed onto a metal table with syringes filled with thick purple fluid. A voice spoke, the new research subject, right? The men spoke among themselves. Which number? Number 17. It seems they have already cast a seal to prevent it from escaping. Right. All their faces were dark and grim. The man holding the syringe spoke. All right, start recording. Another man's voice echoed from a notebook. Number 17, inject S-rank silk cocoon cells. The boy twitched slightly. Someone's voice said, fine, now just observe. How will it react? Tightly bound to a chair, the boy sat as the men murmured, no side effects. It already shows a special ability, yet its consciousness and sense of self remain intact. The boy's face reflected discomfort as he listened to their words. Seems it has a unique constitution, they murmured. Keep injecting until a reaction appears. The men in white coats circled him, fumbling and adjusting equipment. A trembling figure appeared. A voice echoed, 64 years ago. The boy raised his hand, stopping the monsters, protecting the trembling woman behind him. The vicious creatures charged, aiming their stingers at him. But before they could reach him, they were obliterated by a surge of blue light from his hand. The boy's attack left a long streak across the ground, his hand still crackling with sparks of electricity. The woman, holding the little girl, beamed a radiant, heartfelt smile. Thank you for saving me. A wounded man spoke up, his voice heavy with regret. I am sorry to let a child like you bear this burden. The boy replied calmly, it is all right. His feet froze on the ground. 59 years ago, he silently thought. Wait. He looked around at the chaos surrounding him, confusion in his gaze. How did he end up here? What had he just done? A man in glasses appeared behind him, probing. Number 17. Why did you stop? Are your memories in disorder? The boy tilted his head back and laughed, a wild, almost hysterical sound. So that is it. Finally, a side effect, he wondered internally. Side effect. Somewhere, someone was recording notes. 54 years ago, a voice echoed. The result of implanting 500 types of monster cells over 15 years. Parts of the boy's body gradually transformed into a chimera hunter. The voice continued, at least S rank. Immeasurable. Number 17 is the greatest success in our laboratory. A hand extended a piece of meat. 20 years ago, the voice spoke again. Ready, number 17. Here you go. The chimera hunter unexpectedly bit down on the meat, making the woman jump in surprise. She turned to the others. See, I told you it would eat. Amazing. Do not look over here. The film reel fast-forwarded to his most recent fight. A voice echoed, 3 days ago. Finally, the image of him melting appeared, accompanied by an inner thought, all missions completed. Sunlight flashed across the battlefield, chaos strewn with lifeless creatures on the ground. A small white bone appeared on the vast expanse of sand. The tiny bone twitched slightly, dust swirling around it. Suddenly, the white bone emitted a glow and lifted into the sky. The bone slowly reformed into a vertebra. A voice resounded, with a total of 527 types of monster cells implanted. Other pieces of the skeleton gradually reconstructed, the voice announcing, Chimera Hunter number 17. From the bones, muscles and blood vessels were restored, allowing circulation once again. A violent explosion erupted, blinding light and shockwaves radiating across the entire space. A pair of slender, bare human feet stood upon the glowing sand. The boy, now in an adult's form, looked at himself and quietly whispered, "What is this? I have returned. I am human again." Sunlight poured through the hole he had created. A voice echoed, "Reborn." Cheon Daonoon stood with the sun behind him, dazed, whispering to himself, I have returned. I am human again." He looked down at his hand, still bearing sharp claws. The monster cells were still active, so he was not entirely human. Thoughts raced through his mind. Some time must have passed since the experiment, and the laboratory had not yet come to reclaim him. Gradually, the hand reshaped itself into a normal human hand. Cheon Daonoon thought silently, "I have been erased. Even the experiment markings on my wrist have vanished." He recalled the monsters he had faced, calculating inwardly. "So I do not need to run anymore. My body. It must be because of that fire-type monster's power. They say if the core is not destroyed, it can revive 3 times. Cheon Daonoon studied his body, conflicted. But had not they said human cells could not merge with royal cells? Yet clearly, his body had returned to its golden state. The sunlight bathed his back, and he answered his own question. Perhaps the experiment's side effects had disappeared, leaving him feeling better than ever. Since the side effects appeared, he had always been clouded. Even the magic-suppressing disobedience was gone. Cheon Daonoon remembered his form as a chimera hunter, reflecting inwardly, if number 17's life truly ended. Can I now finally live as a human? If that is the case, 17 was just a lab designation. My real name. He recalled the silver-haired man's reprimands. "You truly are a demon. No, a twisted personality. At least try helping others." At the time, Cheon Daonoon had silently listened to every word. "Save 1,000 lives. Cheon Daonoon, what about you?" He cursed under his breath, mocking himself, a stray cat. How can it save anyone? Turning toward the sun, he contemplated what came next. For now, just keep living. He quietly wondered about revenge. Sunlight illuminated the path ahead. He considered it carefully. Revenge only needs a single target in sight. Cheon Daonoon let the sunlight wash over his face, lost in thought. Honestly, it felt like a long time had passed. The fire of hatred no longer blazed, and yet he could never return to a normal human life anyway. Bare feet pressed into the golden sand. He reflected silently, "If I continue living, I will meet them again eventually. Let it be as it comes." Cheon Daonoon looked down, sunlight glinting between his legs. Leaves drifted from somewhere, and the air grew still. Bathed in that light, his voice rose with determination from now on. "I will try to live like a human." He turned and began walking, his mind only on the item he needed, clothes. As he walked, he pondered, when was the last time I wore clothes? Approaching a river bordered by lush green grass, he wondered aloud, but where do I get clothes then? Seeing the river, he could not help but exclaim in his heart, the river. There it is. He stepped out from the bushes, speaking aloud, "All right, let us take a look around." Then Cheon Daonoon noticed something on the ground below and exclaimed, "Huh." He looked at the motionless creature lying on the ground, puzzled. Was this some territorial dispute? It looked strong, but there were no visible injuries. The monster lay still, its mouth oozing thick red fluid. He guessed it probably died from poison. Cheon Daonoon raised his hand, his voice calm and measured. "Good. Just when I need some hide." His hand slowly transformed, sprouting a sharp knife with a gleaming blade. As the knife appeared, he pondered silently. Which blade is best for skinning? Then he remembered the separation method he would learned in the lab. Speaking softly to himself, he said, "First, a cut along the belly. Then scissors through the armpit. All right, let us give it a try." He began, plunging the knife in and cutting a clean line. Dark purple-black fumes poured out, wafting over him, ruffling his hair. Cheon Daonoon thought, "This is toxic." The fumes spread throughout the air, even tinting the ground where the creature lay. He silently noted poison. Undisturbed, he continued his work. "Smells awful. Gotta get the skin off." He slung the tanned hide over his shoulder, leaving the naked creature behind, and muttered, "Done. Not bad for the first try." Next, Cheon Daonoon dipped the hide into the river. The water turned a diluted purple. Lifting the hide, he frowned in mild surprise. I thought it would be soft. Must be the monster hide stiff and untreated." Suddenly, an idea struck him, and he exclaimed aloud this. He laid the hide on the ground and started pounding it repeatedly. As he worked, he muttered to himself, "This must be how you tan leather." Right. After a while, he lifted the hide, now supple and soft. Done. Perfect. Focused on the hide, he did not notice the naked monster stirring slightly behind him. He murmured, "Good. This size should work." A small spark leapt from the remaining white hide of the creature. The monster snapped awake, blinking in astonishment at Cheon Daonun, who was stripping its fur. Cheon Daonun continued now. "On to making clothes. Let us shape this." He punched a hole through the hide. His strong hands pushed it open. He pulled the hide over his body, securing it with a cord around his waist, silently asking, "Is this all right?" Cheon Daonun beamed at the fit the hide molded perfectly to his form, almost as if it had been custom-made. He lifted his shirt, noting the remaining purple fluid. "The poison's not gone yet," he muttered. Turning toward the monster, he sighed, too lazy to deal with it. But just then, the creature let out a shrill cry. Surprised, Cheon Daonun asked, "Huh? You are not dead." It shook its head violently. He hesitated, feeling a strange certainty. "I can understand what it is saying, or am I imagining it?" Cheon Daonun rested his hand on his chin, analyzing the situation. Even after being dissected, the creature was still alive, meaning it was likely some form of immortal. Looking at the weakened monster sprawled on the ground, he thought to himself, "If it were me before, I would have killed it without hesitation. That is what hunters do. The opponent is already too weak to pose a threat. There is no need to finish it off now." A faint smile touched his lips. "You and I. We are lucky," he murmured. "This is my second life, so live it strong." He stepped forward, leaving the monster behind on the ground. His voice echoed lightly, "If fate crosses our paths, we will meet again." Cheon Daonun walked barefoot into a dark space, faint light spilling in from the outside. He strolled slowly, lost in thought. The clothing problem was solved. Now he needed a home. A crack appeared in the ground, accompanied by subtle noises. A massive centipede-like creature rose from beneath the earth, its guttural roar reverberating through the cavern. The centipede swiftly lunged toward him. Cheon Daonun tilted his head, speaking with casual indifference. "A bit dark in here, huh?" He delivered a powerful, decisive strike, cleaving the creature cleanly in two. He muttered softly, turning to walk outside. The creature lay defeated below, dispatched effortlessly by his hand. Snow fell thickly across the majestic mountain forest, a cold wind brushing through the space. A blue-faced monster lay motionless on the white snow, its mouth agape. A voice echoed faintly, "Here." Cheon Daonun stepped over the snow-covered creatures, clearing his throat. "Finding food here will be tough." "Forget it." He ventured deeper into the forest, spotting a purple mushroom emanating a pungent aroma. He wrinkled his nose and dismissed it. "Smells awful. Skip." Then he came upon a cave oozing with a viscous green slime. He commented dryly, "Too damp." "Forget it." Next, he approached mountains with flowing lava. The heat was unbearable. "Nope. Too hot," he muttered. Finally, he stood atop a cliff, gazing at the landscape below under a bright blue sky. He whispered in awe. The view was breathtaking, cascading waterfalls, lush greenery. He marveled inwardly, not bad. Did not expect nature to be like this. Cheon Daonun leapt straight off the cliff, calling out lightly, "Might as well take a closer look." He landed hard on the verdant grass below. The impact sent shockwaves through the ground, splashing water and dew into the air. Cheon Daonun glanced toward the river, noticing a few animals darting beneath the surface. He murmured softly, "The water's clear." And plenty of fish, too. The fish leapt up, revealing rows of sharp teeth. A spark of delight crossed his face as he calculated, "Looks tasty. If I catch them one by one and roast them right here, it will feel just like a camping trip." He imagined a house by the river, himself roasting fish on an open fire, and began planning. Since there is a natural fish stock here, building a home right beside it would not be bad at all. Golden flowers glistened under the sunlight, and a voice whispered in awe, "There are even flowers here." The tree canopy swayed gently with each breeze, fresh and invigorating. A soft voice echoed in his mind, "The air's clean too." Standing beneath the towering trees, Cheon Daonun breathed in deeply, murmuring, "Nice." A soft chuckle escaped him, almost a whisper, Cheon Daonun's home. "It is here." A clearing appeared, separated from the lush green grass nearby. Suddenly, a long, strange streak of blue lightning arced across the sky. From that spark, a swirling rift, like a tear in space itself, began to form. Something emerged from within the portal and was hurled outward. A machine rose to its feet, surrounded by a fine cloud of dust. Red light flashed across its surface, and a mechanical voice rang out, "This is the demon realm." Each golden flower basked in the gentle sunlight, and a quiet voice seemed to murmur, "There are even flowers here." The green canopy of trees swayed softly in the breeze, and the air felt fresh and pure. Cheon Daonun stood in the shade, tilting his head back to take it all in. This place. It is perfect. He could even hear the distant roar of a waterfall, just a 10-minute walk to the valley below. A relaxed smile spread across his face as he made a silent decision. "All right, I will build my house here. This works." He raised one hand, releasing strands of golden silk, focusing first on the patch of land that would become his home. With a swift motion, the threads extended automatically, sweeping through the row of trees ahead. In the blink of an eye, massive trunks, as thick as pavilion pillars, were severed from their roots. They all toppled with a deafening crash. Daonun surveyed the cleared land, murmuring to himself, "Perfect. I have got the space I need." Next, he used the golden threads to lift the logs, sorting out the best wood for later use. After organizing them, he looked at the remaining stumps. This much wood should be enough. The ground was still a little uneven. Without hesitation, he swept away the leftover stumps with a quick motion. Moments later, a flat, clean stretch of earth lay before him. Ah, perfect. Catching all that sunlight, he gently touched one of the logs, moving his hands and limbs with precise control. In the next moment, Daonun lifted it effortlessly with one hand, driving stakes into the cleared ground at the corners. He methodically planted each wooden post, thinking, "This is free will, feels great. Maybe it is because this is my first home." Daonun moved nimbly, arranging planks in a neat line, setting them down to form the floor. Then he picked up some green slime, pondering the walls. "No nails. Guess I will use this slime from that snail-like monster." He lifted a plank and spread the slime evenly on the edges of the one below it. Once it dried, it would harden like stone. Not sure if it is waterproof. Next, he extended the golden threads once more, making careful adjustments. After a while, Daonun stood with his hands on his hips, surveying his work. Good. Now most monsters won't dare come near. The little house he built exuded a surprisingly cozy aura. The slime from the snail monster and silk from the silkworm chimera combined into something warm and welcoming. Daonun smiled to himself. Cozy. I like it. Suddenly, he tapped his chin, thoughtful. But something's still missing. What is it? He paused, pondering what a normal house should have. A memory suddenly resurfaced, a model house from before the portal opened. Daonun remembered the bright, vivid images from a lab video he had seen, an educational film showing a yard with crops planted in front. He glanced at the empty patch of land beside him. Maybe he needed a dog, but here, that would not work. He knelt on one knee thinking, what if I plant a garden? But what can grow in the demon realm? Suddenly, an idea struck him, and he let out a small exclamation. Before him, the shadowy mountains appeared, snow-capped peaks nearby. Mandragora. I will plant mandragora. Not long after, atop the snow-capped mountains. The natural habitat of mandragora, resting at the peak where the demonic energy was thickest, lay before him. Daonun walked leisurely through the blizzard, thinking to himself, well, there is so much snow here. I guess this justifies calling it a snow mountain. He lifted his gaze, slightly. The day I was kidnapped. There was just as much snow. The memory of himself lying flat in the snow flashed across his mind. Back then, it had been so cold that he had almost felt grateful for being kidnapped. His bare feet pressed against the white snow now, and he could not help but think, on second thought, becoming a chimera is not so bad. I do not have to worry about freezing to death or starving anymore. He calculated silently. Judging by the demonic energy, I must be getting close. The snow is easing up too. After another stretch, he finally arrived. Here it is. Thank goodness, the trip was not in vain. Sprouting from the white snow were a few young plants, unusually vibrant. Mandragora were extremely sensitive to stress, much like moonfish. Even the slightest environmental shift could kill them instantly. Daonun knelt on one knee and gently touched a leaf. If I want to move these, the younger they are, the better they will adapt. First step, lift the root. Without hesitation, he yanked the seedling from the ground. Ah, maybe I should have covered my ears, they screamed so loudly. Contrary to his expectation, the mandragora did not scream at all. Huh, what is going on here? He pulled another one, then another. By the third, he thought, they are all like this. Holding the mandragora in his hands, he speculated quietly, do not tell me. These little guys are babbling to each other. The screams of mandragora only occurred when they were propagated by humans. In the human world, the low demonic energy caused them extreme stress. If pulled from the ground against their will, they would scream violently and die instantly. Daonoon gently prodded the mandragora, still asleep. No screams, unsurprising, since this was the demon realm, but why were not they resisting at all? At this stage of growth, they should have tried to escape. He suddenly guessed, maybe they think I am one of them. After all, I carry mandragora cells within me. Still, Daonoon tucked them all around his waist. Good. No stress is perfect. He considered silently, if I care for them properly, I could take a few roots for tea. Maybe eat them with fruit. As he thought that, he remembered, I heard that forcibly picking the fruit turns them into deadly poison. I have to coax them gently. Just then, a series of sounds echoed through the snowy forest, catching his attention. Looks like hunters are nearby. Why would they come all the way up to these dangerous snow mountains? Daonoon tilted his head, a spark of excitement in his eyes. Maybe I should stop by the portal and take a look. Elsewhere, Kim Tae-hoon swore in anger. Damn it. They used us as bait to run. Oh Sungju, standing beside him, shouted a warning. Stay alert, they are coming back. The next moment, a horde of frenzied snow rabbits charged toward them. Their grotesque mouths split into four, gnashing aggressively. Fortunately, Tae-hoon had managed to erect a barrier just in time, keeping the snow rabbits at bay. His face drained of color in sheer panic. I am doomed. Even so, the barrier slowly began to crack. It was about to give way. Tae-hoon closed his eyes in regret. I should have kept doing the menial tasks. Why did I volunteer to hunt the chimera? The instant the barrier broke, he shouted desperately for help. Someone save me. At that moment, a beam of light shot down from the sky, striking the ground with blinding force. A thick cloud of dust obscured the newcomer's figure. Tae-hoon fidgeted nervously. What the hell is that? He shouted in alarm. Is that a person? Gradually, the figure became clearer. Daonoon stepped forward calmly, silent as ever. He caught sight of the snow rabbits and muttered, curious, snow rabbits. The next instant, Daonoon unleashed a terrifying burst of ki to intimidate them. It had been a long time since he had done this. The snow rabbits immediately trampled over each other in a desperate, panicked escape. Sungja's eyes widened. No way. Rank B monsters are fleeing. After a moment, a clear voice called out. Thank you for saving us. Tae-hoon bowed slightly, introducing himself. This is Oh Sungju, and I am Kim Tae-hoon. May I know your name? Daonoon looked around before responding. Cheon Daonoon. Tae-hoon sneaked a glance at him, thinking to himself, Cheon Daonoon. Never heard that name before. And what is with that outfit? Could he be a hunter in hiding? Then Daonoon suddenly asked, why are you guys here? From the look of it, you are only rank D. You must know how dangerous the snow mountains are, right? One of the two replied, Well, it is for the money. They explained that they had been tasked with capturing a chimera, and the reward was substantial. Daonoon furrowed his brow, muttering to himself, a chimera, impossible. Tae-hoon rubbed the back of his neck, continuing. We heard it was an escaped experiment. A mechanical creature that jumped through the portal while running. Daonoon felt a quiet relief. If it is a mechanical creature, it is not me. Fine. I will just grab the portal crystal and head back. He asked, where's your equipment? You did not come into the demon realm empty-handed, did you, and the portal crystal? Sungju replied, our teammates, well, they took all the gear and ran. Tae-hoon clutched his wound in pain. That was their plan. We should have realized it when they brought along a rank B hunter. The image of being abandoned flashed in Daonoon's mind. He thought silently, so those bastards took it all. Tae-hoon awkwardly asked again, are you planning to head back? We are approaching our limit. You know what happens when you are exposed to demonic energy for too long. The amount of time a hunter could safely remain in the demon realm depended on their awakening rank. Without returning to the human world to filter out demonic energy, most would die, but Cheon Daonoon remained unaffected. At that moment, The pleading voices of the two people in front of him reached his ears. "Please, can you take us back? My wife is pregnant. I beg you." Daonoon glanced away, thinking silently, "Here we go." In an instant, he shot forward. "Please." He streaked through the sky at incredible speed, leaving the two calling after him helplessly. "On Cheon, where are you going? Take us with you. Hey, wait." Elsewhere, at the location where the Chimera machine stood, it lingered near the cliff, analyzing the situation. "This place looks dangerous." At the same time, a group of hunters suddenly charged at it. "Now's the time, capture it. Go all in." The machine's body twitched sharply. It sensed the threat. In the blink of an eye, it switched modes, thinking, eliminate them. Alone, the Chimera machine faced 3 or 4 hunters rushing straight at it. Daonoon stared in bewilderment at the scene before him. "Am I too late?" He thought silently. The hunters must have all fled already. His eyes moved quickly, scanning the remaining traces. They would left behind their equipment, small footprints, and a monster. It changes form when it fights, he realized. Taehun's earlier words suddenly echoed in his mind. "I heard it is an experimental creature that escaped. It is a mechanical being that jumped into the portal while fleeing. They say it is made of liquid metal, able to reshape at will, but the material is so rare they only made it small, about the size of a child or a large dog," he recalled. Daonoon smiled with interest. "That machine. It can take on 5B rank hunters alone, not bad." Meanwhile, the 2 other hunters tried to remain calm. Sungju leaned against a tree, muttering, "I am done for. My body's been destroyed by demonic energy." Taehun shouted in panic, "Do not talk nonsense. Your wife is due next month, remember that." Struggling, Sungju added, "If I can't make it back, tell my wife." Tears welled in Taehun's eyes as he cried, "Sungju, hang in there." At that precise moment, Daonoon arrived, still carrying hope a miracle. Taehun spun around in shock. He blurted out, "Cheon Daonoon. It is our salvation." In the next instant, Taehun rushed up to him. Without hesitation, he fell to his knees, pleading, "Please, Cheon Daonoon, we beg you. Save us." Daonoon tilted his chin slightly, thinking, Right, no more portal stones left." At that moment, Taehun continued, "I know it is lawless in the demon realm. Once lost, it can't be recovered." Suddenly, he produced 2 checks. "These checks, worth 2 million won, are our only lifeline. Please, just 1 stone will do." Taehun trembled uncontrollably. "If we do not leave now, we will die." Daonoon calmly glanced at the 2 checks, 2 million won. "I do not need this right now, but it will come in handy back in the human world." Thinking this, he pulled out 2 stones. "Here." Immediately, the portal shimmered open. Taehun grabbed his hand, bowing deeply. "Thank you. We will never forget this favor." He then turned to call his teammate. "Sungju, get up. We will make it if we hurry." As Taehun helped Sungju to his feet, Daonoon suddenly asked, "The portal stones used to cost 200,000 won, right?" Taehun answered honestly, "That was a long time ago. Now it is about 1,000,000 won." Daonoon raised a hand towards Sungju and remarked casually, "That seems a bit much." Daonoon grasped Sungju's shoulder, smiling as he said, "I will settle the extra payment this way." Taehun, standing beside them, flinched in surprise. "Cheon Daonoon." He thought, is he transmitting mana? Instinctively, Taehun raised his hand to stop him. Wait. Transferring mana is something even a rank hunters hesitate to do. If their mana clashes or tangles, the core could shatter, and both would die. He worried silently, thinking, if this goes wrong. But contrary to his fears, Sungju remained completely unharmed. The demonic energy, it is purified already. He threw his arms around Taehun, ecstatic. "We are alive, we are alive, Taehun, we are alive." His face was a perfect O of shock, eyes wide. "No way." Daonoon spoke casually, "All right, I am leaving now." Sungju was so excited he dropped to his knees in gratitude. "Thank you, Cheon Daonoon. We will never forget your kindness." Meanwhile, Taehun remained deep in thought. He purified the malevolent energy through mana. Without a powerful source, this would be impossible. Who exactly is Cheon Daonoon? After a while, Daonoon hoisted his belongings onto his shoulder, nodding a few times. Seeing his small house still intact, he could not help but feel cheerful. Good, looks like no one broke in. My little home survived. What a lucky trip. He glanced down at his waist. Already awake. Long journey must have tired them out. The leaves are all drooping. Let us plant them. Daonoon gently placed the mandragoras into the soil. That should do it. But the little plants showed unhappy, droopy faces. He frowned, puzzled. Do not like it, not a fan of being moved, or are they hungry because they could not absorb nutrients during transport? Daonoon pressed a finger to the soil and began channeling his spirit energy. Let us see. Just a bit of mana. You usually like this, right? Instantly, the mandragoras perked up, full of life. He exhaled in relief. Much better. I wonder, do these even count as monsters anymore? Closing his eyes, Daonoon muttered anyway. Energy over there. Meanwhile, the mechanical chimera, hidden in the bushes, watched him. It was likely the creature the hunters had been chasing. What does this mechanical life form want from me? He wondered. If it wants something, it will show itself. Later, Daonoon slid the 2 checks into a wooden crevice, putting the money aside. Then he entered his house and dumped the contents of his bag to inspect what he would gathered. Let us see, handheld cooking tools, essential for outdoor meals. Portal stones X8 for interworld travel. Spare clothes with pollen stains that needed washing. A double sleeping bag with a blanket for warmth. He scanned everything and muttered appreciatively, well prepared. Good for me. Daonoon then picked up a packet of noodles. Instant noodles. The last time I had these was back at the orphanage. A grin spread across his face. Perfect, I am starving. Let us cook. The noodle instructions called for 500 milliliters of water. Daonoon stood before a large lake, estimating the amount. Suddenly, the water in the lake began to bubble. From the water, 2 plump fish leapt out. Daonoon faced them calmly, muttering under his breath, yeah. Usually people put a lot of stuff in noodles anyway. He flicked one sharply on the forehead. These fish should be fine. Next, he thought about adding other ingredients like eggs or green onions. He reached up toward the pupae hanging from the tall trees. These were small eggs that could serve as a substitute. Perched on a branch with his hand outstretched, he considered no scallions, but some herbs should do. Soon, he carried back a small pot packed with all the ingredients he had gathered. Everything's ready, time to head back. As Daonoon turned, the mechanical chimera quietly followed him. The creature, pitiful and holding its empty stomach, watched him cook. He is cooking. Daonoon set up his stove and began heating the pot, unsure when to add the fish. He murmured to himself while cooking, maybe just boil everything together. Mixing it in later probably won't taste right. After a while, a strange aroma began to fill the surrounding air. The mandragoras wrinkled their little faces and pinched their noses. Does noodles really smell like this? Daonoon could not remember clearly. The scent slowly wafted farther through the trees. Even the mechanical chimera perked up at the smell, its interest piqued by the food. It lifted a leg, thinking to itself, I want some too. What should I do? In the blink of an eye, its metal leg transformed into a dog's paw, just like the ones Daonoon had seen in the lab. A brown-furred dog appeared, its eyes glimmering with intelligence. Humans like dogs, they shared happiness and companionship. Seeing it, Daonoon thought, this mechanical creature. It has been following me for quite a while. He studied it for a moment, lifting one foot thoughtfully. It is pretending to be a dog to make me less wary, and feigning injury to gain sympathy. Looking at it now, Daonoon wondered, it seems young. Still learning. How did something like this escape the lab and end up in the demon world? He bent down and asked it, all right, want to try some? Then, both Daonoon and the chimera dog focused on the pot of noodles. A messy, mixed-up pot of noodles with a strange aroma sat before them, and Daonoon suddenly suggested, well, I guess I will try some too. Daonoon and the chimera sat side by side, each with their own portion in front of them. The chimera ate cautiously, still curious and uncertain, while Daonoon pondered the flavor. This taste. Images of children huddled together flashed in Daonoon's mind. Careful. It is hot, he remembered, recalling the noodles. At that moment, he had been genuinely happy just to eat a simple meal. Daonoon unconsciously broke into a gentle smile. Perhaps it was the flavor, perhaps the moment memories of 7-year-old Cheon Daonoon enjoying noodles had returned. The sun gradually sank behind the mountains, and he exclaimed happily, delicious. Meanwhile, in another corner, the mandragoras were flopping around, overwhelmed by the strong smell of food. The pungent aroma overpowered all other scents. Not long after, Daonoon propped his hands on his hips and shooed the dog, muttering, all right, that is enough. I have still got cleaning to do. He suddenly noticed the chimera's stride. Daonoon smirked and said aloud, that was your left leg just now. The dog, startled, quickly switched legs, while Daonun quietly chuckled from behind. The waterfall cascaded into the lake below, creating a constant, soothing murmur. Cheon Daonun did not give himself a moment's rest. He grabbed a stick and walked to the lakeshore, sitting down. Finished eating. Time to wash the clothes, he thought. He did not have fond memories of pollen, but he could not keep wearing animal hides forever, not like he was a prehistoric human. His hand, gripping a piece of wood nervously, hesitated before striking. If I hit too hard, I might ruin it. Have to be careful. Tum tum tum, the object shattered into pieces, scattering everywhere. Nothing was left of it after Daonun's gentle tap. His arm muscles refused to do any more, and he sighed, consoling himself, "It is fine. One more try." Yet, there was still something lingering in his mind. A glimmering, curious gaze had been fixed on him the entire time. Was it a rock this time? That mechanical creature, why did it keep hovering around? Since the moment after eating noodles and washing dishes, the thing had shifted into the form of a fish, following him. Sometimes it became a block of wood, sometimes it just marveled at the world. Even when he admired flowers that resembled honeysuckle, the mechanical creature would approach in various forms, yet never caused any trouble. Everything remained peaceful until a brown bee suddenly flew straight at it. The mechanical creature instantly reverted to its machine mode and fled. B. After a short distance, it switched to attack mode, clearly hating the bee. Daonun guessed its mental age must be under 5, judging by its behavior and other obvious traits, like its mechanical way of speaking. Despite this, he did not feel any animosity toward it. It was just a typical side effect of young chimeras with artificially implanted intelligence. The naive machine failed to swat the bee and quietly slunk away. Daonun cleared his throat and pretended not to notice. "These honeysuckle flowers are beautiful," he murmured. Finally, after considerable effort, he managed to wash a crisp white shirt. Washing clothes was harder than he would anticipated. Though it was not perfect for Cheon Daonun, it would do. Slightly annoyed, he draped the shirt over a clothesline. It was a bit small for him, but he decided to leave it there until he needed it. Wasting it after all that effort would be foolish. Now, it was time to check on the mandragoras. At that moment, the mechanical creature blinked from its stone form. It reached for the soaked shirt hanging on the line. It wanted clothes too. It hummed as it slipped its mechanical body through the collar, managing to wear it. The robot cheerfully claimed the shirt as its own. From now on, this outfit belonged to it. Its brown hair grew long and flowing. The mechanical body softened, gaining flesh. In an instant, the creature transformed into a perfect human form, a young girl. Turning back to Daonun, he was taken aback by the mandragoras, which were shriveled and buried in the soil. Why did they look so strange? The leaves were wilting, and the roots had dried up. He poked the soil with a stick, puzzled. Strange. I already removed all the weeds while tilling the ground. What is this? He proceeded to pull out countless worms and debris from the soil. There was all sorts of life underground. I will have to till the soil regularly. They almost died. Cheon Daonun came up with a new idea. I should make a proper garden here. Probably about the size of the house. That should do. At that moment, the humanoid robot, peeking from behind a tree, spoke up. Hello. Daonun blinked, recognizing it. This time it was in the form of a little girl. She wants to talk to me, he realized, and he replied hello. Her big, round eyes darted toward the dilapidated house. Is that your house? She asked. Daonun nodded proudly. Yes. The girl's face lit up with curiosity. So you are a local. A mischievous idea sprang to Daonun's mind. Should I tease her a bit? Without overthinking, he asked, right? And you, which tribe are you from? The little girl froze, her round face blank for a moment. Tribe. She pointed vaguely toward a distant spot. I am from the other side of the waterfall. Way over there, too far for you to find. Daonun patiently guided her. Really, if it is the other side of the waterfall. That is the coconut tribe, right? The girl nodded firmly, as if confirming a fact. Yes, that is right. I am from the coconut tribe. Daonun grinned, ready to tease her further. But that shirt. It is mine. The humanoid robot broke out in a sweat. In my tribe, whatever you pick up belongs to you. So now this shirt is mine, she explained. Daonun laughed lightly, not caring. Fine, take it then. Then he moved on to ask about her main purpose. So why did a kid from the coconut tribe come all the way here? The girl hesitated, scrambling for an excuse. I was kicked out of my tribe, so I need your help. She bowed and shouted earnestly, I also want to live here. Please allow me, sir. Daonoon asked with mild curiosity, live here. She murmured, because there are no bugs here. Not knowing how he would respond, she nervously twisted her fingers together. There is a house too, so I think it is safe here. Her trembling voice continued, that is why I want to live here. Daonoon chuckled softly, conceding. Looks like you really need a place to stay. Relenting, he allowed it. All right, but if you want to stay here, you will have to work. The girl's face lit up instantly. Yes, just tell me what to do. He then glanced at the vacant plot next to them and assigned her a task. First, we need to till the soil. Can you do it? We need to make a home for the mandragoras. She eagerly took the piece of wood from his hand. Trust me, I am really strong. Immediately, she began clawing at the soil like a little plow, working harder than an ox. No need to mention the strength she used, it was overwhelming. Daonoon was speechless at her sheer innocence. He did not bother hiding it anymore. Perhaps she did not even know how typical children behaved, having lived only in a lab. He suddenly remembered they had not properly introduced themselves. Ah, what is your name? My name. The girl gasped, slamming on the brakes. Fortunately, her intelligence was enough to come up with a solution. I do not have one, so I will just make one up for myself, she decided, inspired by the beautiful flowers around her. From that moment on, the little girl had a new name, Kim Nari. My name is Kim Nari, she declared. Cheon Daonoon knew this, but still teased her a little. Hangulyenkyo. Kim Nari in Korean. Kim Nari sounds quite similar to Hangulyenkyo, a type of flower. The girl shouted again to make sure. It is Kim Nari. After a while, Kim Nari bounced around excitedly. Daonoon nodded approvingly. Quick work. The stone fence is done, thanks to me. Watching the little mandragoras hop happily through the freshly tilled soil, he felt satisfied too. They liked it a lot. He thought he should have done this sooner. But soon, a soft sniffle caught his attention. He turned to see Kim Nari pouting and on the verge of tears. What is wrong? Why are you crying all of a sudden? The girl answered miserably, seeing the mandragoras. It reminds me of my friends. Daonoon found this strange. Friends, there were none in the lab. Suddenly, the girl's senses seemed to pick up on something. A piercing, agonized scream echoed from the forest. Cheon Daonoon, being too familiar with such sounds, barely flinched. Do not be shocked, it is just monsters hunting each other, normal stuff here. But Kim Nari fell to her knees, clutching her head. Before I came here, I saw a little chick-like monster. She could clearly sense its suffering. It seemed surrounded, perhaps even wounded. Daonoon's calm reply came instinctively. Seems like it. Maybe it has been bitten, about to be eaten. This is the demon world after all. Suddenly, he realized her true intention. Wait, could it be that she wants to save that monster? Just then, she looked even more distressed. Save the monster. Still affected by the brainwashing, she could not move on her own. Cheon Daonoon hesitated for a moment. Should I help her? He did not want to make it feel like an order, but he made the decision immediately. If she helps, maybe it will survive. Want to go check it out? Her eyes lit up, and she shot up into the sky at lightning speed. I am coming right away. From deep within the forest came the powerful flapping of giant wings. The bees were targeting a helpless little chick. At that very moment, Kim Nari, moving with incredible speed, delivered a precise kick to the head of one bee. No bullying allowed. Her gaze was full of determination and courage. I will save you. Memories of the lab returned, of being judged and ranked first, of how they would place her in high-risk experiments. A tattered stuffed bear fell to the shiny floor. The other chimera, out of jealousy, had beaten her, but she could never understand. Let them live. Why? I was only following orders. It hurt so much. A faint plea echoed in her mind, stop. But now everything was different. Kim Nari's shout rang loud and fierce. Stop right there. She threw a small punch. No bullying allowed. Alone, she faced multiple tiger-sized bees. It was dangerous and wrong, but she did not falter. Cheon Daonoon, meanwhile, casually fed the little mandragoras, enjoying it. Suddenly, a loud yell shattered the peace. Uncle. He looked over, startled, and saw a face smeared with tears and snot. Back so soon. In her hands was a small, grimy round object. Daonun's eyes widened in surprise. Wait, calm down. That thing. It looks familiar. Kim Nari's voice wavered and rose into frantic sobs. Uncle, what should I do? It won't wake up. In her hands, the little round chick spun helplessly in its stupor. She held it out, her heart burning with worry. It is hurt too. Is it going to die? Cheon Daonun stepped forward slowly. Let me take a look. He extended his hand, and a faint blue aura seeped from his fingertips. Placing his hand on the grimy little orb, he examined it carefully. Thankfully, there were no fatal injuries. Daonun then analyzed the code imprinted in the chick. Each line of the creature's demonic energy carried a different history. It had shrunk, and its colors had faded just as he had suspected. He was completely certain now. This was the same immortal-type creature from before. At the same time, he noted a massive, suspicious energy core. But why was it so tiny? A different method of recreation, perhaps. Seeing Daonun lost in thought, Kim Nari anxiously asked, so, is it going to be okay? He concluded calmly, yes, it is just malnourished. Malnourished, she asked, eyes wide. Seems it could not find food, so it shrank. But I have already given it a bit of mana. Leave it be, and it will gradually recover. Still, Kim Nari's expression remained sorrowful. Memories of the lab haunted her even now. She lifted the tiny chick gently, pleading, Uncle. If we leave it like this, it will die. Look, it is as soft as rice cake. Her eyes glimmered with earnest longing. Please let me take care of it. I will train it, feed it. I want to look after it. Can I? Daonun simply reminded her, it will grow very big someday. Blushing, she promised, I will only feed it a little. He smiled softly. All right, if you want it, take care of it. Her face lit up immediately. Really? Daonun nodded firmly. Yes. You can let it roam the yard safely. At that moment, the chick blinked and stirred, murmuring softly. Where am I? A familiar but annoying face came into view. The little chick froze, realizing with horror that it had been caught off guard, its voice now nothing more than instinctive sounds. Kim Nari lifted it triumphantly into the air, cheering. It is awake. The chick chirped nervously, cooing like a tiny pigeon, clearly bewildered. Why? Is there a girl in the demon world? Without hesitation, Kim Nari cuddled it tightly. You are awake now. The chick struggled, flapping its wings and squeaking, let me go. What is going on? But she held firm, cradling it in her arms, her face glowing with joy and relief. Its pitiful cries echoed up into the sky. Let me go, I said, let me go. Cheon Daonun stared, dumbfounded. Wait, I can understand what it is saying. A moment later, Kim Nari, brimming with energy, announced, it is healed, though it still can't move. Uncle, I have picked a name for it. She did not seem to hear its protesting. This little one. Let us see. Since it goes gu-gu like a pigeon, we will call it Gu, she decided. Daonun nodded casually. All right, not bad. The little bird stood and grumbled indignantly. Hey, how dare you name me? I already have a name. Kim Nari, carefree as ever, dumped an entire pot of water over its head. It continued squawking, probably thirsty too. Then, blinking like an owl, she asked Daonun for guidance. Uncle, it is soaking wet now. What do I do next? Do not pour more water on it, Daonun replied, judging from her expression. Looks like she does not understand. No more water is needed. Excited, Kim Nari dashed off. It is probably hungry. I will go find food. Daonun turned back to his own work. With a few more little creatures around, he figured it was time to make a storage shelf to keep things tidy. He placed a sharp knife against a large log, estimating the size needed not too big. But as soon as he brought the knife down, the log split neatly in two. Daonun scrambled up, confused. What just happened? I did this the same way I made tables and chairs. The little bird waved a foot dismissively. Different type of wood. The one in front of you is soft wood. Daonun's eyes lit up with curiosity. Different woods have different hardness, of course. You did not know that, he asked further, which color wood is the strongest. Their conversation flowed naturally. Red, came the answer. Suddenly, Gus sensed something unusual. Wait. You understand me. It stared at Daonun as he muttered red under his breath. The little bird reluctantly rose to perform a spell. Impossible. But just in case. Through telepathy, countless eyes probed his mind. Yet Daonun remained outwardly calm, seemingly absorbed in his own thoughts. Have I seen red wood anywhere? Neither his voice nor demeanor betrayed the probing. Perhaps Gu's home suppressed such mental intrusions. More importantly, the little bird's expression turned fearful. You heard my voice. Daonoon crossed his arms and explained carefully. Not exactly heard. It is more like a human voice jumped directly into my mind. But more importantly, his sharp gaze fixed on it. A creature understanding human speech. That is rare. Gu averted its eyes, realizing the truth. Daonoon knew now this was a highly intelligent species, one of the few of its kind in this place. He would never met one before. He spoke again, as if confirming. We have met before, have not we? Gu nodded, looking him squarely in the eyes. Yes. I have wanted to meet you again. You want to meet me. It was not a creature that held grudges or gratitude in the usual way, yet somehow, it knew he had saved its life. If it could meet him again, it wanted to repay him at least once. Daonoon recalled what he had done. By removing its poisonous outer layer, its immortal core remained intact. That was why it had survived. Without hesitation, Daonoon asked, Good, can you help me right now? Gu blinked, momentarily surprised. Now, in the next instant, it understood his intent. It flung off the cloth binding its body. All right, follow me. I will lead you to the red tree. Smoke was already billowing through the forest. Flames erupted violently, consuming everything in their path. Kim Nari was being chased by the fire, screaming, Disappear, I hate the laboratory. The fire had already reached her waist, blistering hot. A sudden collision sent her tumbling into the ground. Panting, Kim Nari's mind was flooded with terror. The laboratory's coming to get me. What do I do? Fire is terrifying. I hate fire. The pursuer carried a detection device. It was a mechanical being, capable of changing its form at will. He was a long-haired man with a fierce, ruthless face. Setting the forest ablaze was his doing. Attacking a child was cruel, but he summoned fire from his right hand, thinking, Understand this, my life depends entirely on this mission. For a moment, flames shot toward Kim Nari. She was too terrified to even stand, but the fire did not reach her. Someone had stepped in to block it completely, just enough to handle things quickly and move on to other tasks. This time, Gu was also present. I will show you where the tree is after we save the girl first, it seemed to say. Daonoon quickly assessed the situation. Kim Nari was terrified of fire. She was in a panic. He began to form a plan. First, the fire had to be extinguished. Gu perched on his shoulder, nodding. Good. Bullying a child. What a lowlife. The man, annoyed by Daonoon's sudden appearance, barked, What is this, a prehistoric human? Which group are you from? You are after the mechanical being too. I do not have time, go away. Daonoon muttered under his breath, annoyed by the nonsense. Talk too much. His defiant attitude only made the man even angrier. You arrogant brat, what are you mumbling about? He swung his arms, sending 2 streams of fire crashing to the ground. Get lost. Daonoon pointed a single finger at him, and a flash of blue light sparked. A brilliant aura appeared above the man's head. His eyes widened at the mysterious magical force. What the? But Daonoon's true goal was to destroy the rock behind him. In an instant, earth and stone collapsed, pinning the man beneath it. Peace returned to the forest. That should do it. Kim Nari wiped her tears and runny nose on her sleeve. You cleared the fire, uncle. Daonoon gave her practical advice. Kim Nari, whatever scares you, just crush it. He stepped forward and grabbed the man's head. Get up. Using a bit of force, he lifted him though the man might have been unconscious. Yet in Daonoon's hand, he felt a shock of long, glossy black hair. The man's head gleamed under the sunlight. No. My hair. Daonoon shivered involuntarily. What the hell is going on here? Daonoon glared at the young man buried in the sand, his voice icy. Kim Nari, whatever scares you, just punch it flat. He stepped closer, bending slightly to grab the guy's head. If he moves, just hit him again. Daonoon reached out to pull the young man upright, but somehow, he only managed to grab a handful of hair. His eyes went wide as he froze for 5 seconds, staring at what he held. The secret was exposed. The young man muttered in despair, No. My hair. All eyes turned downward. Daonoon gasped in disbelief. What the hell is this? A wig, is this guy bald? Gu folded his arms like a little old man and remarked bluntly, So young and already bald. Just one phrase, but it hit with devastating precision. The sunlight reflected off the smooth, bare scalp like a polished mirror. Nari buried her face in her hands, giggling. Bald and shiny, it is too funny. The laughter switched on like a faucet, unable to stop. Bald and shiny, not scary at all. Daonoon glanced at her with a small smile. That is my Kim, Nari. He remembered something he would asked Go earlier. This guy, he is not someone Kim Nari could not handle, right? Through telepathy, Go transmitted an answer with its gaze. Telepathy allowed it to view the memories of an opponent and send them to someone else. A memory suddenly flooded Daonoon's mind. In a dark laboratory, dim light flickered from a cage. The man's cruel, guttural voice echoed, sending shivers down the spine. He grinned widely, a glint of gold flashing in his teeth. Inside the cage, something that looked like a trembling slime cowered in fear. Know how to dodge me, huh? Seems you have got some instincts. The man raised his hand, fingers blazing with hellish fire, his voice coaxing. Come here. What is there to fear? Just checking your endurance. Then, a loud crash resounded through the room, but no one knew exactly what had happened. Understanding the scene, Daonoon stepped forward and patted Nari's head. Well done, Kim Nari. Inside him, a thought settled. Psychological trauma is not easy to overcome, so this is already a step forward. He glanced at the unconscious young man on the ground. Now, what do we do with him? Gu approached, tapping his head gently, but there was no sign of awakening. Suddenly, Nari shouted. Hands on her hips, brimming with excitement, I've got a great idea. A moment later, atop a rock in the raging waterfall, a rope dangled down. The young man was tied to the end, and water from above drenched him entirely. Nari chirped happily, soaking him like this. He won't be scary anymore. Bald and shiny, totally harmless now. By now, the young man had come to, eyes vacant and dazed. I did not come to the demon realm to end up like this. At the base of the waterfall, Nari pointed at him, teasing. You bald meanie, she poked at his pain, and the young man muttered curses under his breath. Damn it. Daonoon carried a pot over and admonished her. Hey, do not mock someone else's appearance. But Nari, like a little demon, ignored him completely. Daonoon had to admit defeat. She was recovering far better than he had expected. Ignoring the girl, Daonoon waded into the stream. Gu hovered curiously at his side. What are you doing? It asked. He replied, getting water to cook noodles. Nari ran over, eyes sparkling. Your fish noodles are so good, uncle, Daonoon chuckled. Oh really? Suddenly, he got the urge to tease. Does the coconut tribe eat fish noodles too? The girl flinched and stammered. Ah yes. The coconut tribe loves noodles. The young man tied up below watched quietly, narrowing his eyes in evaluation. He was definitely at least a rank hunter. Below, Nari eagerly plunged into the water, squealing with excitement. I am catching fish, the more Daonoon observed, the more convinced he was she might even be stronger than she seemed. The young man was certainly a reclusive hunter, yet Daonoon, meanwhile, was calculating. 3 packs of noodles will need a lot of water. The young man grumbled to himself. Cooking noodles while tying someone up. Even in the demon realm, this is a bit much. After a while, Nari emerged from the water, clutching the tails of 2 flopping fish. Uncle, I caught fish. Daonoon gently advised her. One is enough, so let the other go. She listened eagerly and did as told. Okay, I will let one go. The young man watched, speechless. What the hell? He stared at the pot, mostly filled with water, feeling intensely frustrated. If they boiled the noodles like that, it would taste awful. Why was there so much water? He began to doubt humanity. Did these people even know how to cook noodles? As for Nari, she had no clue. She was just excited to run back and eat them. Unable to take it anymore, the young man shouted, making everyone freeze. Wait. He struggled against the ropes, negotiating. If you let me down, I will cook for you. A few moments later, he was alone under the light, preparing to demonstrate his cooking skills. Slowly, he tore open the noodle package. To anyone else, it was just instant noodles, but to him now, it was a matter of survival. He lifted the noodles with trembling hands, swallowing heavily, weighed down by nerves. Behind him, 3 pairs of eyes watched his every movement intently. Drops of sweat dripped from his chin. He reassured himself, the noodles are already good. I will cook them normally. Though, honestly, I do not know much about cooking. Because there were 3 packs, he guessed the amount of water. After a while, the water in the pot began to boil furiously. The young man moved deliberately, first dropping the noodles and soup packet into the boiling water, letting them cook for exactly 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Once that step was complete, all that remained was the waiting. He inhaled deeply, resting a hand on his chest. His current heart rate was 60 beats per minute. In other words, counting 270 heartbeats was the most reasonable way to time it. He closed his eyes slightly and muttered each number. 118, 119, 200. Right now. Then he lifted the noodles with his chopsticks and let out a loud shout, raising them high. The crucial part was exposing the noodles to the air so they would firm up and develop a perfect chewiness. Each strand glistened with sauce, suspended in midair. He glanced back, thinking to himself that a little kimchi would have made it perfect, but this was the demon realm, after all. Finally, a relaxed smile spread across his face. He had done his best. With the divine bowl of noodles finished, he felt an almost transcendent relief, free of regrets. He gave a tentative evaluation, the true noodles of Nam Kiziak flavor profile, 90 starch, 24 protein, 18 calcium, 20 fat. Settling everyone's spirits, Kiziak called the three of them over. Try it, Nari eyed it suspiciously. It tastes nothing like Uncle's noodles. Daonoon agreed indeed, it was different. Then he picked up his chopsticks and took a bite to test it. The atmosphere suddenly fell into an extraordinary silence. If one listened closely, it was even possible to hear the sound of breathing. All three of them opened their eyes wide in disbelief. The flavor of the noodles felt like a gateway to heaven, so pure it seemed to lift one off the ground. Nari slammed her hands on the table, sitting up. Uncle, this is insanely delicious. Go peppered him with questions. Do humans really eat this every day? Daonoon stammered, unsure how to respond, and simply said, even I am surprised. Just eat first. In no time, the pot was empty. Go flopped on the table in satisfaction, letting out a delighted noise. Kiziak chuckled awkwardly. Well, everyone's satisfied. Nari still pouted regretfully, it is all gone. Daonoon looked him squarely in the eyes. If you want something, just say it. Kiziak blinked in surprise. Daonoon gestured to the empty bowl in front of him. Something this good can't be free. Tell me what you want. If I can do it, I will give it to you. Hearing this, Kiziak swallowed nervously. Really then? Suddenly, he dropped to his knees and bowed deeply. Please teach me. The young hunter Nam Kiziak admitted, I want to be as strong as you. Big brother. Daonoon froze, puzzled. Big brother, me teach you what? Kiziak did not hesitate to explain. You are the strongest hunter I have ever met, and I can see you have settled here. Then he added loudly, I can cook many dishes too. I even have certification. The claim was a bit dubious, but he continued, and my father runs a small chicken shop, so I fry chicken very well, that is for Rayal. To convince Daonoon further, Kiziak offered more. It must be a hassle to go back and forth through the gate for supplies, and clothes too. Let me handle it. Of course, I will pay tuition. I want to learn from you, big brother, and reach rank A, Kiziak said earnestly. Daonoon cut him off suddenly. Let me ask first, why did you attack Kim Nari? Was it for the reward? Kiziak froze, confused. Daonoon quickly signaled toward Nari. She is a mechanical being, but she is pretending to be from the coconut tribe, so just go along with it. Meanwhile, Nari, oblivious to the conversation, was staring intently into the now empty noodle pot, muttering, it is all gone. Really, Kiziak understood and nodded. Ah yes, sir. He stammered, for personal reasons. It is hard to explain, but you do not need the reward, and you do not need Kim Nari, Daonoon said firmly. All you need is to pass the Hunter Advancement exam, nothing else matters. Kiziak pleaded, his expression sincere. Daonoon immediately replied, is that so? Then stand up. Kiziak blinked in disbelief. Yes, sir. Under Nam Kiziak's gaze, Daonoon radiated a brilliant aura. I have had a good meal, this is the least I can do. Let us start with a sparring session first. Last time was too fast. Kiziak could not hide his excitement. Thank you, big brother. At that moment, Nari set the pot down and enthusiastically proposed. Uncle, I want to spar too. Daonoon raised an eyebrow in doubt. Are you sure, Kim Nari? The girl's confidence shone through. I already said it, anything scary just gets smashed. I want to try taking down that fire too. Kiziak leaned slightly, a teasing tone in his voice. You have forgotten, have not you? It is just that big brother is strong. Uncle here is not weak either, you know. Daonoon pointed toward a black rock ahead, testing him. You are Nam Kiziak, right? Can you break that? Kiziak looked closely at the slab and hesitated. That is black iron stone, is not it? It is many times harder than diamond. Daunun pressed. Can you do it? Kiziak forced a grin, raising both hands in surrender. No way. Black iron stone is tough. At least in a rank is needed. Before he could finish, a loud crack erupted behind him. The black iron stone shattered into pieces. Kiziak's face drained of color, his mouth stiffening. How? The one who had caused it to explode was Nari. The girl stood on a chair, her small hands still lifted from the strike, her eyes sharp and challenging. Uncle Baldy, come on. Let us fight. In a corner, the mandragoras were still lost in the aroma of the noodle bowl, utterly captivated. A bit of background. Nam Kiziak was someone who had naturally awakened his abilities, a promising young hunter. He first awakened around the age of 8, when his fingers suddenly burst into flames. Considering that most people awaken in their late teens, this made him extraordinarily rare. At District 12, during a Rank B hunter evaluation, Kiziak threw himself into combat with everything he had. With flames that seemed to embody his willpower on his hands, his opponent was quickly defeated. Coupled with his diligence, he rose rapidly through the ranks, achieving Rank B+ well before turning 20. This sudden surge in power brought him fame and the dream of becoming the strongest hunter. But no day was perfect. On that one particular day, after returning from the evaluation, Kiziak went about his usual routine and took a shower. While washing his hair, he noticed something alarming. Grasping thick handfuls of hair in his hands, Kiziak could not help but tremble. The price of awakening early has come too soon. By the age when most were only beginning to awaken, his hair had started falling uncontrollably. When he looked in the mirror, he fell to his knees in despair. By his early 20s, the crown of his head had thinned significantly, and his hairline had receded into an M shape. Kiziak's face twisted in anguish. My hair. He visited every clinic he could find, offering money without limit, asking if it was possible to transplant hair again. Every time, the answer was the same: it would just fall out again. It is best to give up. Tears streamed down Kiziak's face as he felt utterly powerless. All his efforts were in vain. Despite his natural talent and once brilliant presence that outshone everyone else, he was quickly losing his radiance. Dragging his feet, he left the clinic in a daze. With his hair gone, Kiziak's face seemed drained of vitality, as if the human world no longer held anything worth cherishing. Days passed, his long hair falling bit by bit, draining his motivation. As a result, during the ranker evaluation, number 307 Nam Kiziak failed. Rank A, not a chance. His growth stagnated, and his life became increasingly careless. His room was littered with empty cans, uncleaned. The only flicker of light came from the TV, which spoke in a mechanical monotone. Today's guest is Dr. Han Myong, due from the Hanbit Research Institute. I hear you have made some interesting discoveries recently. The figure on the screen spoke while mysteriously removing his hat. Liquid metal is an extraordinarily rare compound, even here in the demon realm. I accidentally drew a little on my head. At the bottom corner of the screen, a flashing headline appeared. Doctor successfully creates a mechanical creature using liquid metal. When the hat was finally removed, a cascade of glossy hair fell into view. Mayandu smiled, revealing a golden tooth. Look at this, my hair grew back like this. I am nearly 90 years old, you know. Seeing this news, Kiziak bolted upright. What the? But the next question made him freeze. So, you are going to develop another hair growth treatment? Mayandu answered frankly no. This time, the events reminded me how mysterious the demon realm really is. As someone who has awakened, and for the sake of humanity's safety, I will use all the remaining liquid metal to create a mechanical creature and challenge the champion of XX Korea. Hearing this, Kiziak buried his head in his hands, overwhelmed. Why not make hair growth medicine? That is what is for the sake of humanity. He slammed his fists on the table repeatedly, shouting in frustration. A few days later, news came through his phone. A masterpiece from the Hanbit Research Institute, the mechanical creature, had escaped into the demon realm. The moment Kiziak learned this, he bolted out of his house. In the demon realm, there were no rules. What you found, you kept. Fueled by a burning determination to reclaim his long black hair, Kiziak's resolve surged. I will find it at any cost. I will stake everything on this. However, at that very moment, he found himself sprawled on the ground, his face a mix of panic and disbelief. Struggling to sit up, His thoughts swirled chaotically. This kid. Is not she a little too strong? Nari beside him was gleeful. One again, Daunun, looking exasperated, muttered, she can barely land a hit now. At this rate, the young master would only be useful for running errands. Shaking his head, Daunun turned to busy himself with something else. Kiziak's determination remained unwavering. I will do my best. Just watch me. In no time, a cabinet made of redwood was completed. Daunun propped it upright and patted it a few times. All right, that is a finished storage cabinet. Redwood really is solid, thanks for the tip. Gu tapped it with his foot, silently approving. This should last a long time. Both man and creature continued observing Kiziak. Daunun silently admired him. He really does have courage. Meanwhile, Kiziak let out a small sigh. All I have done today is take hits. He held a small flame in his hand, his mind still immersed in thought. But somehow, he felt free. Is it because I threw away the wig? At that moment, the tiny flame transformed into a spear of fire. Kiziak's eyes blazed with determination. Kim Nari, let us go again. Goose silently evaluated. Not bad at controlling fire. But he still can't take down a kid. Daunun commented lightly, that is because Kim Nari is not an ordinary child. Kiziak took the initiative to strike. This time, I will definitely win. Nari calmly prepared to defend. Go ahead, Chu. He swung his flaming spear downward, delivering a powerful strike to where the girl had just stood. But all he saw was the ground cracking. Nari had vanished. Above Kiziak, a mass of liquid began to form. This is liquefying. From that liquid, an arm emerged. Nari suddenly appeared, delivering a strong kick to the space between his legs. The blow sent him flying, slamming against the cliffside, while the girl landed safely on the ground. Nari grinned proudly. I am not afraid of fire anymore, thanks to you, Chu. Kiziak, defeated, twitched at the corners of his mouth, his heart bleeding with frustration. So this is the limit of someone stuck at rank B. I do not have a single useful skill left. Yet he quickly gathered his spirit. No, I have to get up. Someone like me, past their prime, won't get another chance to fight like this. Refusing to give up, Nam Kiziak surged to his feet, brimming with determination. One more round, Kim Nari. At that moment, a trickle of blood ran from Kiziak's nose. Daunun stepped forward, concerned. How many days have you been in the demon realm? Wiping the blood away, Kiziak answered, today's the 9th day. Hearing this, Daunun offered a warning. You should go back. At your current level, staying here any longer, the demon energy will kill you. Recognizing the danger, Kiziak nodded. I will go back, though I would like to stay a bit longer. Daunun added encouragement, but you have the potential to reach rank A. Keep working hard. Kiziak looked surprised. Me. Yet moments later, he hung his head, discouraged. I have failed the test 6 years in a row. They say if you do not pass within 3 years, there is no hope. Historically, there has never been an exception. Daunun, unwavering, reassured him. I think you can do it. Your mana well has not fully developed, yet do not give up. Moved by the support, Kiziak's eyes glimmered. Thank you, Daisye. Daunun reminded him, once you return, make sure to purge the demon energy completely. Grateful, Kiziak promised. I will do my best. Please keep watching over me. Daunun thought to himself, yes, I will make him a ranker, an actual rank a hunter. Before leaving, Kiziak carefully asked, does anyone have anything else? It looks like the noodles are gone. Nari jumped in excitement. Noodles. Daunun, more composed, said, that is fine for now. Kiziak nodded. All right, I will buy more then. As Kiziak stepped through the gate, Nari called after him, Chu, be careful. Suddenly, he popped his head back out, giving a quick reminder. Train hard. Next time, Chu will win. The girl poked him teasingly, sticking out her tongue, then remembered something. Kiziak suddenly asked, oh right, Daisye. Have you seen my wig anywhere? Daunun's stomach sank, and he avoided the question. I do not know. He thought. Kiziak did not suspect a thing. Anyway, I am off now. I wonder where it went. After the gate closed, Gus spoke through telepathy. Is it okay? Daunun raised an eyebrow. Okay for what? Gu did not beat around the bush. If that guy betrays us, would not it be dangerous? What if he brings other hunters here? Daunun glanced at Gu and asked in return, what do you think? You can read other people's memories. Gu answered, his desire to get stronger seems genuine. And the bald head thing too. Daunun suddenly interrupted. I like that he is honest. For some reason, a small smirk crept across Daonun's face. This will be fun. Nari, curious, asked, Chu, do you understand what Gu's saying? Daonun nodded. Yes. I did not tell you before, right? Uh-huh, she said. You understand. Leading the girl inside the wooden house, Daonun proudly showed off his handiwork. I finished this storage cabinet, thanks to Gu's advice. What do you think, neater now, right? Nari chimed in. It seems a bit dark, though. Dark, huh? Daonun immediately transformed his hand into a sharp knife and cut a section of the wall, creating a large opening. Then we will make a window. On a lower level, Nari mimicked him, the knife cutting smoothly without any hesitation. The 2 windows, one high, one low, were quickly completed. Nari clapped her hands in delight. It is so bright, I love it. Daonun did not hold back his praise. You did really well, kid. Rubbing his chin thoughtfully, he added, if you want it even brighter, we should add some lights for nighttime. Nari's eyes widened. Lights, can we make lights? Daonun explained, there is a type called Kwang stone that emits light in the dark. If we collect a few and hang them from the ceiling, it will shine bright. Gu asked, do you know where to find Kwang stones? Daonun nodded enthusiastically. Yes. If we go to the volcanic region, we will definitely find some. Gu's mood suddenly sank. The volcanic region, notorious among hunters, was the most dangerous place of all. Daonun noticed and frowned. Going home should be a relief. So why is it upset? Suddenly, Nari lifted Gu's face in her hands. Chu, what is Gu saying? Hugging Gu tightly, she added innocently, its voice sounds strange. I think it is sad about something. Gu struggled, but could not break free. This kid is too perceptive. Seeing this, Daonun said, it is probably just worried about going to the volcanic region. I will go myself, so you 2 stay here. But Nari shook her head firmly. No, I am coming too. The girl's confidence shone through. I am not afraid of fire anymore. I want to go to the volcano with Chu. Daonun was a little surprised. He had not expected her to overcome her fear so quickly. He then glanced at Gu, testing it. What about you? After a brief hesitation, it responded, I will go too. I still have a few things to handle there. Daonun smiled. All right, then let us go together. In return, I will give both of you some gear suitable for the volcanic region. With that, shimmering strands of light poured from Daonun's hands, twisting into strange, intricate shapes. Through the swirling, dark smoke, a pair of fiery eyes lit up, burning as if to pierce through the night itself. The malformed beast slowly emerged from the molten lava, and from the corner of its eye, a single tear quietly traced down its face. At the volcanic region, mountains were spewing streams of molten lava. Cheon Daonun recalled that this was one of the 3 places hunters were warned to avoid in the demon world. He observed the grayish air swirling around and thought that volcanic ash could easily scrape and burn exposed skin. The lava continuously bubbled and roared, and he quietly assessed that the combination of concentrated toxic gases and demon energy could be lethal if inhaled. Gu muttered with a dark expression, noting that because this place was so dangerous, there was almost no information about it in the human world. Watching Kim Nari play with the fire, Gu asked, what is that kid doing? The girl shouted excitedly, this is so much fun. Cheon Daonun replied for her, she is playing with fire. Gu frowned. Since she is a mechanical being, it seems fine for her, but, how are you okay? What are you exactly? Daonun answered, me, I am a chimera hunter. Gu tilted its head. I could have guessed, but normally, chimera hunters do not even look human. Daonun explained, I used to be like that, but after reincarnation, I look human now. Walking alongside them, Daonun asked Gu, and you are okay traveling with us? Are not you a monster? Is not it uncomfortable being near hunters? Kim Nari suddenly shouted, I almost tore my clothes. Gu replied shyly, well, it is not so bad. Talking with others is fun, and you are not bad people either. Daonun smiled. That is a relief. Kim Nari stepped out of the lava stream, curious. Chu, you are talking with Gu. I want to talk too. Daonun explained, Gu, she was just curious about what we are. The girl beamed. Chu, we are both natives of the demon world. Gu groaned in protest. I am the native here, you little rascal. A while later, Gu perched on Kim Nari's head. Looking around, it announced, the luminous stones will be near the lava that is about to erupt. Daonun nodded. Then it should be close to the crater. Looks like we are almost there. Kim Nari froze for a moment, then shouted with excitement, we have reached the top. Daonun calmly said, let us see. He peered into a lava pit and exclaimed in surprise, "Oh, there is the luminous stone. But, is that a fire toad?" An orange toad with black spots on its body sat quietly. Daonoon wondered aloud, "Is that crying?" Kim Nari pointed to the pit and shouted, "Chu, look, there is another one ahead." One toad sat motionless in front of the charred body of another. Daonoon noted, "Looks like it died while moving. The one carrying eggs on its back is the female." Gu explained, "Female fire toads carry eggs on their backs after laying them. Only females' backs sink like that during the breeding season. But if the female dies..." It looked at the two toads and continued, "All the eggs will die too. The temperature at the crater is far too high for the eggs to survive." Cheon Daonoon remained silent, while Kim Nari stood beside him, pouting. Poor fire toad. It looked so sad, losing its friend. Daonoon stomped his foot and said, "Kim Nari, wait here for a moment." The girl panicked and shouted, "Chu, where are you going?" He approached the fire toad that was sobbing. Gu called out in alarm, "What are you doing? Turn back now." Cheon Daonoon, the fire toad, glanced back at him. Gu warned, "That toad is very sensitive right now. Do not get too close." Daonoon remained calm, standing his ground. The fire toad opened its mouth and lifted its head. It spewed flames toward Cheon Daonoon. Kim Nari shrieked, "Ju!" From within the blaze, Daonoon extended his fingers, holding a small needle, and lunged toward the toad. Using just his index finger, he aimed at the fire toad's head. After a moment, it collapsed to the ground. Daonoon calmly said, "Wait. Just lie there." Looking at his finger, he thought to himself, "This is a paralytic toxin from a Neko cobra. I only injected a small amount, so it will wake up soon. Fire toads have some resistance to poisons." Kim Nari shouted anxiously, "Chu, are you okay?" He lifted his head and answered, "I am fine." He surveyed the charred body of the female toad and the unconscious male beside her. Daonoon murmured, "I have fire toad cells, but if one is dead, I can't do anything for it." Suddenly, a cord appeared on the female's back. He continued, "But the one's still alive. They will get to live." After a short while, the male toad awoke in a panic. Daonoon brushed off his hands and looked at the egg bundle secured on the male's back. "Bowery, I have tied it tight, so they should revive just fine." He froze for a moment, startled by the male toad's action. The fire toad rubbed its head against the charred body of its mate. Daonoon wondered, is it saying its final goodbye? Then the toad turned and leapt into the air, startling Kim Nari. "It is flying," she exclaimed. It landed gently on her back. The fire toad looked at Kim Nari, as if signaling something. The girl stared at it, bewildered. Without warning, the fire toad leapt again and vanished into the air. Kim Nari shouted, "Look, the fire toad's looking back this way. I think it is thanking us." Cheon Daonoon looked up at it, thinking to himself, "Must be because it saw the female die." He murmured, "That must be it. All right, let us go dig up the light stones and head home." "Home," the girl yelled. "Yes, let us dig fast and go home." Kim Nari grabbed a large, glowing mineral stone. She shouted with excitement, "Got it." She lifted the stone high and exclaimed, "It is so beautiful." Cheon Daonoon cautioned, "Careful, it will hurt if it falls on your foot." Gu eagerly helped, picking up a stone and muttering, "Light stone," before dropping it into Cheon Daonoon's backpack. He noticed Gu leaning against the bag, looking exhausted. "You okay? You look tired." "It is so much easier when I used to toss these around," Gu replied, "but now that I have shrunk, it is tougher." As Cheon Daonoon continued collecting stones, he said, "You do not have to help. Why not take care of your own work? You are just bringing these as gifts for your friends." "Right." Gu blushed and shouted, "Monsters do not have friends. I am not planning to see anyone. I am just leaving the gifts and heading back." Cheon Daonoon chuckled to himself, so shy. He pondered for a moment, then asked, "Do you miss your kind? Monsters sure have a mind of their own." "I do not miss anyone," Gu shouted. "I just regret not being able to say goodbye before leaving." "But you left the group on your own, right?" Daonoon asked. Gu hesitated. "Well, yes." It recalled, having a mind is a good thing, but in the past. A giant monster once stared at a tiny scorpion and questioned, "Is this red, deep red or light red? Why is it red?" Gu remembered, but there is also bad stuff. In the past, it had stood nearby as that monster ate the scorpion, and Gu had exclaimed in shock, "Wait, why are you eating that? Never mind, it is useless anyway." Gu explained, "In a place where no one has thought or language, learning about language made me feel less alone." While continuing to collect light stones, it added, so I separated from the group and lived alone. Gu muttered in frustration. Maybe my old group did not even know I left. They would not understand camaraderie anyway. Kim Nari, watching Gu struggle to mine the light stones, shouted, "Keep going, Gu." "It is taking forever," it complained. Finally, Gu pulled a glowing stone free from the rock wall. It paused, and Kim Nari noticed a sound. She sat on the ground, looking at an egg buried beneath the soil. "Chew this egg." Cheon Daonun examined it. "Looks like a monster egg. I wonder what kind it is." He glanced at the tiny crack on the shell and muttered, "It is damaged." A small crack, probably from Gu accidentally hitting it while dropping the light stone. Cheon Daonun said thoughtfully, "The hatchling has to break the shell on its own if it is going to grow up strong and healthy." Kim Nari asked anxiously, "Then what should we do?" The girl suggested, "Let us bring it back with us. If we leave it here, it will just end up roasted in this heat." Gu shouted, "What? And what if something actually hatches from it?" Cheon Daonun stayed silent. His thoughts wandered to the desk drawer nest, and he recalled, "Actually, there is a perfect spot nearby to make a nest. And I do want to see what is inside this egg." Finally, he stood up and said, "No other choice, we will take it with us." Kim Nari cheered with delight. "Great, I will carry it, okay." "You crazy." Gu yelled. "I have never seen an egg like this before." Cheon Daonun smiled and teased, "Who is it that dropped the light stone again?" Gu faltered, then muttered nervously, "But what if Kim Nari ends up in danger because of it?" Daonun reassured him, "She won't. I will make sure of it." Hearing that, Gu muttered under his breath, "Well, if it is you, then maybe it will be fine." "All right then," Cheon Daonun concluded. "We're taking it back. But let us dig up a few more light stones first." "Yes, sir," Kim Nari shouted. "Let us dig fast and head home." Some time later, they stood before the house. Kim Nari, clutching the egg, yelled excitedly, "We are home." Nam Ki-suk looked up in surprise. "Big bro, where'd you just come back from?" Instead of answering, Cheon Daonun said casually, "Oh, you are back early too." Nam Ki-suk walked over and said, "Give me the bag, I will carry it for you." Cheon Daonun eyed him suspiciously, wondering, what is he up to? Still, he handed the backpack over and warned, "Careful. It is heavy." Nam Ki-suk reached out with a grin. "I am strong, do not worry." But the moment he took the bag, it dropped straight to the ground. He trembled as he asked, "What the hell's in here that is so heavy?" Cheon Daonun studied his pitiful expression, then ordered, "Nam Ki-suk, lift your head." "Why the long face?" Seeing Nam Ki-suk's scratched-up face streaked with tears and snot, Cheon Daonun asked with concern, "Nam Ki-suk, what happened? Did you get into a fight with someone?" Then, in a flat tone, he added, "Did not think you were the type to be on the receiving end of a beating." Nam Ki-suk instantly straightened up, scratching the back of his head awkwardly. "Sorry. I mean, I get beaten up by Nari a lot around here too," he admitted sheepishly. Hearing that, Cheon Daonun thought with disdain, "Wow, real proud of yourself, huh?" Without another word, Nam Ki-suk made an excuse. "You must be hungry. I will go set the table," he said before running off, leaving Cheon Daonun standing there alone. At that moment, Cheon Daonun was carefully carving a gemstone in his hand. Suddenly, Kim Nari walked up and curiously asked, "Uncle, what are you doing?" Following her voice, he turned and explained, "I am engraving this light stone to hang it from the ceiling and make the place look nicer." "Oh," Kim Nari nodded in understanding. Realizing his intent, her eyes lit up with excitement. "You are really smart, you know that, Uncle," she said with admiration. Cheon Daonun blew the dust off the light stone and glanced at her. She kept staring at him, then added with a big smile, "And kind too. Like a dad." Cheon Daonun let out a long sigh. Then teasingly, he asked, "So, how's your father back in Coconut Tribe doing?" Kim Nari turned her face away and stubbornly answered, "He is fine." By now, dusk had fallen, the sun sinking behind the mountains. Gu could not help but sigh contentedly. "Sunset feels so warm. Not like the volcanoes, but my whole body feels like it is melting." It sprawled lazily on the ground, soaking in the moment. Suddenly, 2 feet appeared, stopping right above its head. A tall shadow blotted out the light. Bright red eyes fixed on it, then leapt into the air. In an instant, they rolled together, mandrakes fusing into a ball, bouncing and tumbling across the ground. They sprang off Gu's back and landed nearby. Gu shot up and shouted, What is wrong with you guys?" The mandragoras thrashed about wildly in excitement. Kim Nari, confused, yelled out, "Why are they fighting?" Cheon Daonoon calmly explained to her, "They are probably mad because Gu trespassed on their territory." Just then, a hand appeared in front of them holding a plate. Nam Ki-suk, polite as ever, said, "Thank you for waiting. Dinner's served." He set the fragrant dish on the table and introduced it briefly, Inarizushi. A system window popped up with the details. Nam Ki-suk's heartfelt Inarizushi flavor 80, carbohydrates 22, protein 19, sodium 18. Nam Ki-suk thought to himself with quiet confidence, "It is easy to make, and it even looks nice." Everyone admired the food before them. Cheon Daonoon just sat with his arms crossed, saying nothing, while Kim Nari and Gu were openly delighted by the meal. Gu gave a short nod of approval. "Looks decent." Kim Nari could not hold back her admiration. "You are amazing, uncle." Hearing their praise, Nam Ki-suk grinned happily. "All right then, dig in, everyone." Cheon Daonoon glanced at him coldly and said, "Before that, you still have not answered my question earlier. Tell me what happened to your face." Nam Ki-suk scratched his head, stammering without giving a clear answer. "Well, about that." The golden evening sky deepened, casting a warm glow. Plates were cleaned off completely before Nam Ki-suk finally dared to speak the truth. "So, I went to the Hunter Association to register for the exam, and I ran into a group of rankers." He paused mid-sentence. Even though he did not explain further, Cheon Daonoon seemed to already piece the story together. He asked calmly, "And then they mocked you for failing the exam 7 times, you picked a fight, and got beaten down instead." Kim Nari and Gu, oblivious to the matter, focused only on the food. Kim Nari asked with a mouth still watering, "Uncle, do we have more?" Gu nodded in agreement. Sweet and soft. Nam Ki-suk slumped as he confided to Cheon Daonoon, "Yeah. They told me to stop hanging around and dirtying the place. They kept mocking me, asking if my pride fell off along with my hair." His words trailed off into awkward silence as he kept hesitating. Cheon Daonoon propped his chin on his hand, listening carefully. Then, out of nowhere, he asked blankly, "But is not this just a buzz cut? It is not like you are completely bald, right?" Nam Ki-suk froze up like he had been sprayed with glue, furious enough to explode. Realizing his slip, Cheon Daonoon quickly apologized. "All right, sorry about that." He straightened his tone and asked seriously, "So when's your promotion exam?" Nam Ki-suk replied honestly, "Next month, within 60 days. Cheon Daonoon rose to his feet, his expression stern. "Then we are starting special training." Nam Ki-suk immediately jumped up as well, eyes blazing with determination. "Yes, sir, I will give it everything I have got." Cheon Daonoon handed down his first assignment. "Starting now, you will be doing the dishes instead of Kim Nari." Kim Nari did not even care, just drooled as she stared at her spotless plate. Gu, on the other hand, scraped up every last crumb, nearly ready to swallow the plate itself. Nam Ki-suk blinked in disbelief at the order, his jaw dropping. "Wait, dishes, seriously." Cheon Daonoon did not repeat himself. He simply pointed to the backpack, filled with gemstones. "And you see those extra light stones over there? They are covered in volcanic ash. Clean those too." Nam Ki-suk followed his finger, stunned. "All of that." He looked back at Cheon Daonoon and muttered softly, "But you said special training." Cheon Daonoon gave him no sympathy. "If you do not want to do it, then stay stuck at rank B." He then turned gently to Kim Nari. "Hey Nari, want to go fishing to digest dinner?" At that, the girl finally tore her eyes away from her plate. She jumped up in delight. "Fishing, that sounds fun." Nam Ki-suk, desperate for any way out, weakly protested, "But, Hyung." Cheon Daonoon ignored him and walked off with Kim Nari, leaving Nam Ki-suk alone, staring down at the mountain of dishes. Holding the pile in his arms, Nam Ki-suk whispered to himself, "That is right. Hyung has a plan for me." Everyone always assumed he was born a genius, but he struggled as he strapped the heavy backpack onto his shoulders. "No, the truth is, I am not. All I have got is hard work. If I want to reach rank B, I have got to sweat for it." He clenched his fists, trying to steel his will. "I am someone who pushes forward no matter what. Someone who does not stop once I have made up my mind." His foot stomped firmly on the ground. Dragging himself forward with weary steps, he called after Cheon Daonoon, "Wait up for me, Hyung." Inside his mind, he pushed himself further. The one who fails 6 times, but still goes for the 7th. The one who, despite having nothing, keeps trying. The one who is still a good man at heart. With that thought burning in him, he trudged on, while nearby a makeshift fishing rod splashed into the river. Cheon Daonoon focused on his fishing rod, while Kim Nari, already bored out of her mind, yawned and complained, "Uncle, nothing's biting at all. The fish are all going over to that guy." She pointed a little ways off, where Nam Ki-suk was struggling with a towering stack of dishes. Suddenly, he flinched and shrieked as fish darted past him. "Oh my God, help me," he wailed in panic. "Water-type monsters are the worst match for me, it hurts so bad." Cheon Daonoon sighed inwardly. Diligent as ever, but hopelessly clumsy, he walked over and asked, "What are you doing? Just surround yourself with mana like a shield." Nam Ki-suk was already sitting on the ground, looking embarrassed. Scratching his head with an awkward laugh, he admitted, "I have been trying, but it is not working that well." As if a new idea had just struck him, Cheon Daonoon picked up a glowing crystal. His mind was already turning. In that case, he held out a large, elongated lightstone and ordered, "Nam Ki-suk, take this." Though confused, Nam Ki-suk obediently accepted the crystal. "Just hold it, but why a lightstone?" he asked. The moment it touched his palm, the crystal flared with light, releasing a heavy aura. His hands shook uncontrollably, and the lightstone slipped from his grip, clattering to the ground. Trembling, Nam Ki-suk admitted honestly, "This is demonic energy." "Is not it? I can't focus it into my hand." Cheon Daonoon remained calm. "Exactly. Every so often, a lightstone carries an especially dense concentration of demonic energy. That is raw, unrefined power from the demon realm. To control it, you need to push against it with refined mana." The fallen stone continued to glow on the ground, pulsing faintly with power. Cheon Daonoon pressed a finger against Nam Ki-suk's chest, his expression grave. "You already have plenty of mana inside you. You are just not skilled at channeling it yet." At the spot where his finger touched, a strange light rippled through Nam Ki-suk's body. It spread along his nerves, striking key points, until it reached his brain. Nam Ki-suk stared wide-eyed at his arm, feeling as though electricity surged through it. What is this?" Without leaving room for doubt, Cheon Daonoon explained evenly, "Your flow should be open now." White fire flickered from Nam Ki-suk's arm. Cheon Daonoon continued his instruction, "Let your mana follow that current. Now focus and lift the lightstone again." Nam Ki-suk obeyed, retrieving the glowing stone from the ground. His teeth clenched, his throat uttering strained sounds as every fiber of his being fought to control the weight of the energy. At last, he raised the crystal above his head and shouted with exhilaration, "I did it, I lifted it." In that moment, understanding dawned on him. Beaming, he exclaimed, "So that is what this was about. The dishes, the lightstone, it is all part of your plan to train my mana." Cheon Daonoon finally smiled, nodding. "Exactly. Then I will leave the dishes to you. While you work, keep circulating your mana." Nam Ki-suk was so overjoyed he could hardly see straight. He did not hesitate to accept the task he had been given. On the contrary, he puffed up with pride and declared, "I, Nam Ki-suk, am the man who can clean anything, a master of household work." Inside, he quietly encouraged himself, "I can do this." That night, beneath a high, glowing full moon, the group settled into a humble wooden cabin. A radiant lightstone hung from the ceiling, casting a soft glow across the room. The atmosphere was peaceful, almost idyllic. Each of the three Kim Nari, Cheon Daonoon, and Nam Ki-suk had their own blanket and pillow, already lost in deep slumber. Gu, meanwhile, curled up inside a drawer, guarding what it considered its territory. Exhausted from the day's exertions, Nam Ki-suk snored loudly, drool dripping from the corner of his mouth. Cheon Daonoon, even in sleep, lay perfectly straight, his posture as disciplined and serious as ever. Gu clutched a round egg against its body, muttering irritably, "Should not have slept earlier in the evening." But then, a faint sound caught its attention. Its eyes snapped open. From where it lay, Gu spotted Kim Nari. She had risen from her bedding in the middle of the night and quietly slipped outside. Watching her small figure vanish through the doorway, Gu frowned in confusion. What is that kid doing up so late? Watching Kim Nari's small figure fade into the night, Gu tilted its head, puzzled. Where's that kid going at this hour? By the quiet riverbank, under the pale glow of the moon, Kim Nari stood alone, clutching the hem of her tunic. Her expression drooped with sadness. Holding up the soiled fabric, she muttered with a trembling voice, "My clothes are dirty again. And this was the outfit Uncle gave me." But she quickly shook off the gloom, scrubbing at the stain with determined little hands. "It is fine," she said brightly to herself. "Washing will make it clean again." From behind a nearby tree, Cheon Daonoon and Gu observed. Daonoon raised a brow. So this is where she went. But why wash clothes in the middle of the night? Gu smacked him lightly and whispered, idiot. She is a girl. She does not have anything else to change into. Daonoon's gaze lingered on her small frame as she knelt by the river, and a thought weighed on him. For me, it would not matter what I wore. But she is just a child. Have I been neglecting her needs? When Kim Nari finally finished, she beamed, her little feet splashing back onto the riverbank. All done, the stain's gone, she announced proudly, hands on her hips. Now it is perfect. Daonoon and Gu stepped out, as if they would just happen to be wandering by. Daonoon exaggeratedly looked up at the night sky and sighed. Ah, the night air really is refreshing. Startled, Kim Nari spun around. Uncle, what are you doing here? Walking up calmly, he smiled gently. Just taking a walk with Gu. You are out walking too, are not you? Kim Nari laughed nervously, waving her arms. That is right, just out for a walk. Then Daonoon crouched slightly, his tone softer. Kim Nari, stand still for a moment. He carefully tied a small string onto her garment, then tucked a delicate flower into place. Like this, he explained. And this flower goes here. When he was finished, he asked, well, looks cute, does not it? Kim Nari looked down at the adornment, and her face lit up with delight. It is so pretty, it looks just like yours. Daonoon nodded. That is honeysuckle, the flower you like best. Just then, a rustling came from the bushes. Kim Nari jumped, startled out of her skin, and instinctively clutched Daonoon's hand. Her voice quivered. What was that sound? Daonoon smiled gently, his tone soothing. Do not worry. Just a grasshopper. Indeed, hidden in the brush was a steel grasshopper, a B-class monster. But Daonoon gave no hint of concern. Let us head back now, he said. Kim Nari gulped and nodded quickly. Why, yes. Hand in hand with Daonoon, and Gu trailing along, they started back toward the cabin. On the way, Daonoon casually tested the waters. Say, Kim Nari, do you need anything, clothes, maybe shoes? But the little girl shook her head, smiling earnestly. Uncle already gave me one set. That is enough. I really like this outfit, Kim Nari had said with a bright smile. Cheon Daonoon had only replied absent-mindedly, is that so? Well, if you say so. Near the slums, in District 13, old buildings leaned tightly against one another. Stepping through the teleportation gate, Daonoon emerged barefoot. The sight drew curious stares and murmurs from the crowd. What the? Is he walking without shoes? Weird-looking guy. But he ignored the whispers and kept moving forward, lost in thought. Nari may say she is fine, but leaving a child with only one ill-fitting outfit. No, that is not fine at all. Even Gu kept grumbling about it. If only I would taken her along to pick something herself. But the human world still weighs too heavily on her after what she has been through. Not to mention, she still has that tracker on her. The thought made his expression grow somber. A few blocks in, he slowed, scanning the streets. Hard to believe I am using a teleportation stone just to come to the slums and buy children's clothes. I could have sworn there was a clothing shop around here. Did it close down? Has it been that long? Suddenly, someone grabbed his sleeve. Excuse me. Are you looking for a clothing store? It was a boy in ragged clothes, face smeared with dirt. He grinned slyly. 10,000 won. For just 10,000, I will take you there. Bet you are not from around here, right? I know a place that is cheap and decent. Daonoon said his terms calmly. I will pay after I exchange for smaller bills. I do not have any change right now. The boy clicked his tongue, giving him a once-over with disdain. A hunter without even 10,000 won. Must be some newbie fresh out of the demon realm, probably got scammed and cleaned out. Still, he turned with a shrug. Fine. You have got money for the clothes, at least. Follow me. Normally I take payment up front, but you look pitiful, so I will make an exception. Daonoon inclined his head politely. Thank you. As they walked, their chatter was thin and unimportant. The boy introduced himself first. Name's Obongsu. Cheon Daonoon, came the reply. Then I will call you Hyung, Bongsu declared, half asking, half deciding. Daonoon did not answer. His eyes were fixed on a police car rolling past. Patrol cars in the area. The slums do feel safer than before. Out of nowhere, Bongsu asked, you have only been awakened recently, right? The question caught Daonoon off guard. You could tell. Ignoring it, the boy went on. You walked out of the gate with nothing on you. But you blew all your money on gear, then had it stolen by some thugs. Do not let it get you down. Everyone goes through that stage. Daonoon did not bother correcting him. You seem to know a lot, he said politely. Thinking he was being dismissed for his age, Bongsu stopped short, frowning. What? I am not some kid. I am just short, because I do not get enough to eat. For your information, I am 17. As they passed a yard, Daonoon's eyes lingered. Inside, a group of older boys were ganging up on someone, fists and feet flying. A small boy was crying and begging, but they ignored him, snatching his wallet. Seeing Daonoon pause, Bongsu quickly explained, even though this whole place is a slum, stay clear of District 13 if you can. It is notorious. The Space Gang used to be based in District 11, but now they have spread their turf here. Cops do not even bother with it anymore. We are in District 12 right now. That bunch there is from over the line. That is why nobody around here ever sets foot in 13. Cheon Daonoon watched the whole scene unfold, his eyes growing cold. A shadow passed through his thoughts as he muttered inwardly. The Bang Space Gang, huh? I wonder if that orphanage in District 13 is even still standing. At a small clothing shop, a young woman slouched behind the register, grumbling to herself. I must be out of my mind, opening a clothing store in the middle of the slums. Couples here do not even want kids because they can't afford to raise them, and yet children's clothing is supposed to be my main source of income. Maybe I should just change jobs already. She sighed, stretched her arms above her head, and yawned. The door suddenly swung open with a jingle of the bell. Oh Bongsu came in with Cheon Daonoon trailing behind. Waving happily, the boy called out, Auntie Bac, I am here. The young woman's face twisted in outrage at the word auntie. It is sister, you brat. I am not married yet. Do not you dare call me auntie, she shouted back. Cheon Daonoon ignored their bickering, letting his eyes roam over the shelves. A strange thought crossed his mind. This is actually the first time I have ever come to buy clothes in a real store. Meanwhile, Oh Bongsu introduced him. This guy says he wants to buy some clothes. He is a hunter, too. Instead of responding to Daonoon, the shop owner jerked her head toward Bongsu. Hey, come here a sec. Puzzled, the boy asked, what is it? Only for her to pinch his cheeks hard and scold him. Are you seriously going to keep dragging broke hunters in here? Do you have any idea how much debt I am drowning in already? Bongsu yelped in pain and protested. How was I supposed to know if this Hyung had money or not? She jabbed her finger toward Daonoon, her voice sharp. Just look at him. Does he look like someone with money? Completely oblivious to their argument, Daonoon was still standing in the children's section, tilting his head in thought. So this area is for kids, huh? Bongsu kept defending himself stubbornly. I know, but come on, he is way too handsome to be broke. And besides, you are the one who told me to bring pitiful hunters here because they reminded you of your dead little brother. That was just once or twice, she snapped back. Keep this up, and I will go bankrupt and end up on the streets. But Bongsu would not let go. Who told you to feed me in the first place? You are the one who bought me a meal first. Rolling her eyes, she shot back, oh, shut up. Just look at yourself. Here, take a little money and go wash up properly for once. At that moment, Daonoon finally turned around, cutting into their quarrel with quiet politeness. Excuse me. I would like to buy some clothes. This is all the money I have. What can I get for it? He held out a check. The piece of paper shimmered with a radiant glow, dazzling their eyes. Both of them froze, stunned. Is that a check? Bac thought, her disbelief plain on her face. Bongsu nearly fell over in shock. 10 million won. And he says this is all he has got. Bac suddenly clapped her hands together, her demeanor transforming in an instant. With the brightest smile she could muster, she sang out, where you can meet your true self every day, welcome to Happy Coon World. Bongsu quickly followed her lead, rushing to pull out a chair and polish the table, fawning over Cheon Daonoon as though he were a VIP. Shopkeeper Bac leaned forward with a fawning smile. From adult wear to children's clothes, we have got it all. Are you shopping for yourself, sir? Cheon Daonoon sat down, letting Oh Bongsu knead his shoulders, and replied in a steady tone, clothes for a little girl about kindergarten age. And while we are at it, I will pick up a few things for myself too. She also needs shoes. Bac's grin bloomed like a flower. She cooed, oh my, you are just too sweet, and you have come to the perfect place. Children's clothing is our specialty. Let us start with this season's spring and summer collection. She pulled out a frilly little dress, holding it up as if it were a treasure. Lace is a must-have, you know. Then she brought over a crisp, brand new outfit. And for more active kids, A coordinated set with room to move is always the best choice, do not you think? Not stopping there, she showcased another adorable dress, chirping, and remember, if it is pink, you have to grab it. Round after round, she piled on more, until the receipt was so long it trailed like a scroll. BAC's heart soared. So this is what it feels like to reach the peak, the absolute ceiling, flying high. I could cry from happiness. If only every day could be like this. And now, we are sold out. Inside she was cheering, I can't believe it, we are completely sold out, over 100 pieces gone. Out loud, though, she kept her tone honey sweet. Would you like me to deliver everything to your place, sir? No need, Daonoon answered politely. I will carry them myself. Then he turned to Bongsu, handed him a set of clothes along with 2 bills, and said, Oh Bongsu, these are for you. And I would like to ask one more favor. The two of them left the store with bulging bags in hand. Daonoon thought dryly to himself, buying new clothes is surprisingly fun. Meanwhile, Bongsu hugged the set he had been given as if it were the most precious thing in the world. When they arrived in front of a building, Bongsu pointed. Here we are. A clean, decent boarding house, just like you wanted. There is even a police station nearby, so it is safe. The landlord's a kind person too. Really? Daonoon asked. Wait here a moment. I will go in and be right back. He slipped inside, leaving Bongsu blinking in confusion. The boy nodded obediently, but his mind began to race. Something's off. No matter how much money he has, giving me 101 for nothing, then buying me clothes too. I have heard about guys who lure street kids with cash and then abduct them. Should I just run? Fear crept over him, and he clutched the bundle tightly to his chest. But another thought nagged at him. Still, what if he is really a good person, like Sister BAC? Just then, Daonoon came back out. His voice was serious but calm. You were right. The landlord's easy to deal with, and it is clean inside too. Here, take this. You look like you have been wandering the streets long enough. With that, he placed a room key in Bongsu's hand. Then he added, I have already paid the rent for a whole year. From now on, this is where you will live. I also covered your meals, so make sure you eat properly. Bongsu stared blankly at the key in his hand. And with that, Daonoon continued, I will be going. Still dazed, Bongsu blurted out, if I go inside. You are not planning to kidnap me, are you? Just as Daonoon was about to step through the warp gate, he stopped and glanced back. What are you talking about? You are the one who guided me here. Bongsu, still not letting go of his suspicion, pressed again. If not for that, then what is your real purpose? Today's the first time we have met. You gave me money, clothes, and now even a room. Why are you being so good to me? His voice cracked, eyes glistening with tears. Daonoon smiled gently and answered, because you remind me of my past. I used to live the same way you do now, though that was a very, very long time ago. Goodbye. I hope we meet again. When he returned, Daonoon called out, I am back. Nam Ki-suk greeted him right away. Hey, welcome back. Kim Nari, on the other hand, planted her hands on her hips like a little granny and scolded, Uncle, why did you leave without saying anything? Daonoon calmly replied, I went to buy you a gift. He opened the sack, revealing piles of brand new clothes and dresses. Nari squealed, a gift. While Gu's eyes widened. How many clothes did you buy, man? Nam Ki-suk looked on jealously. Nothing for me. Daonoon gave a flat answer. You know how it is. Nari pulled out a pristine shirt, her face lighting up. Clothes, and they are so pretty. If you like one, go try it on inside, Daonoon told her. Okay, I will try it right now, Nari shouted, running off in excitement. None of them noticed the strange egg hidden in the house begin to stir. Cracks glowed faintly along its shell, trembling as though it were about to hatch. Cheon Daonoon was diligently folding clothes. Ever since he would taken folding seriously, for some reason it actually felt calming. Suddenly Kim Nari called from a distance, Uncle, look at me. She came out wearing a dress, beaming. I think this one's so pretty. He praised her and asked, That one's nice, is it your favorite? Still a little unsure, she added, I want to try on a few more, though. She came out looking flustered. How do you even wear these pants? Then she swapped into an oversized white shirt and put on a playfully spooky voice. I am a ghost. She tried on outfit after outfit, delighted at having so many choices. Cheon Daonoon watched, and could not help laughing, she looked so happy. Go commented calmly, she is pretty adorable. Eventually she stepped out and declared with conviction, Okay, Uncle, I have decided. She was wearing a hoodie with a chicken print and looked proud. I like this chicken. It reminds me of Gu. Gu, a little embarrassed, replied, does it really look like me? Cheon Daonun smiled approvingly. Good pick. Want to fold your clothes yourself now? Kim Nari eagerly agreed. Yes, let me do it. Gu peered toward the remaining pile and asked, what about the rest of the clothes? There is nowhere left to put them. Cheon Daonun thought the same. Yeah, I have been thinking about that. He started outlining a plan aloud. He wanted to expand the house into an open wardrobe room, a whole room just for clothes, no closed cabinets. Gu, coming closer, asked, so we will need to chop more trees then. Daonun turned his gaze toward the forest confidently. Do not worry, I have got someone to cut the trees. Nam Ki-suk, are you ready for special training? There was a sudden booming noise as dust shot up into the air. Nam Ki-suk appeared out of nowhere. I am Nam Ki-suk, always ready for special training, he announced. He bowed at a sharp 90 degrees and handed over something respectfully. I even prepared training gear for you, Hyung. Daonun raised an eyebrow. Training gear. Kiziak grinned and joked, this leather outfit, that is your training gear. Right, it is soaked in some ultra-concentrated poison. I almost died just holding it, he gushed with admiration. Half serious, this must be the ultimate limit-pushing training method, even daily life becomes training. No wonder you are my big brother. I will follow your footsteps and train even harder. In reality, of course, Daonun was not some grand ascetic trainer, he was just lazy about doing laundry properly. Daonun made a decision. Fine, put it on. Nam Ki-suk froze. Huh. Daonun spoke calmly. Actually, this would make for good training clothes. I am done training for today, you wear that and go chop wood. Gu volunteered too. I will pick which trees to cut. Nam Ki-suk, clearly uneasy, protested. Wait, if I wear that I will really die. Why am I the one doing the woodcutting? Cheon Daonun was diligently folding clothes, thinking to himself that ever since he had started taking the task seriously, he found it oddly soothing. From a distance, Kim Nari came running, shouting, Uncle, the egg's acting weird. Everyone immediately gathered in the room, watching the egg with rapt attention. Cheon Daonun observed calmly and reasoned, its movements are getting stronger, it is probably about to hatch. The girl's eyes sparkled with excitement as she turned back to him. Really, it is going to hatch. Nam Ki-suk's face twisted in unease as he muttered, Big bro, this is not going to be some kind of disaster-class monster, is it? Kim Nari blushed and snapped back. Of course not. It is going to be an adorable little creature. He still looked doubtful, mumbling, but what if? Only for the girl to insist. There is no way that is happening. The shell cracked, revealing a pair of glowing eyes. Nam Ki-suk paled, shouting in terror, it is hatching, while Kim Nari practically bounced with joy. It is hatching. Sharp claws burst through the shell. Then a long tail. Everyone's voices rose with anticipation. Claws, scales, even a flickering tongue. It looks ferocious, could this be? But out popped a tiny, harmless snake that let out a squeaky little peep. Nam Ki-suk froze, dumbfounded. A chick, a snake, what the hell is this thing supposed to be? Meanwhile, Kim Nari clapped her hands in delight. It is so cute. The shell shattered completely as the little creature hopped out. It jumped out, she squealed. Unfortunately, the newborn promptly landed right on Nam Ki-suk's face. His scream echoed so loudly it shook the house. A branch dropped squarely onto his bald head. From atop his head, Gu urged him along matter-of-factly, come on, there is still a mountain of work waiting. Nam Ki-suk scowled, feeling as though the little creature was mocking him. Why do I get the feeling this thing's cursing me out? Must be my imagination. Sweat poured down his face as he struggled to breathe. And this damn toxin, it is suffocating. How the hell does Big Bro walk around with this stuff on him, like it is nothing? Meanwhile, Cheon Daonun finished neatly folding a pile of clothes, remarking with quiet satisfaction, it has been a while since I have done laundry like this. Not bad at all. Suddenly, Kim Nari's cheerful voice rang out again. Uncle, look at his eating bread. She watched the little creature with fascination, her eyes glowing with affection. It is so well behaved. Really gentle, is not it? Cheon Daonun smiled faintly. Maybe it recognizes you as the one who saved it. Then she tilted her head in thought. But what should we name it? Her face lit up with inspiration, only to twist into panic as the creature wriggled away. Since it is part snake, how about? Sasahe, where are you going? She chased after it, calling frantically, come back here. Gu observed calmly from the side. They are getting along. Not bad at all. Cheon Daonun nodded in agreement. Looks like Nari's already taken a real liking to our new member. With a thoughtful expression, he added, but more importantly, is it a rare species? I have never seen anything like it. Gu's tail flicked lazily as he answered, neither have I. But Gu did not forget to add one last note of caution. However, the fact that it is a volcanic region monster is accurate. We will need to keep an eye on the mandragoras. Cheon Daonuan frowned slightly. The mandragoras, why them? Gu explained with calm certainty. Most volcanic monsters consider plant-type creatures a delicacy. Not me. Of course, plants do not grow big in such places. So whenever they do see one, they eat it. Especially plants infused with strong demonic energy. That hatchling will definitely try to dig up and devour the mandragoras. In conclusion, Gus said firmly, in short, I have figured it out. This little one could very well be a natural enemy of mandragoras. Nam Ki-suk had just returned and looked around in confusion. What is going on? Cheon Daonuan could only nod, impressed. Seems Gu's prediction was right. Kim Nari grew anxious and tugged on his sleeve. Uncle, stop them. It would be better if there is no fighting. He hesitated, but his expression stayed calm. This is the demon realm. They need to establish dominance at least once. Then, softening his tone, he reassured her, do not worry, it is still small. It should not be too dangerous. Let us just watch. Sasa narrowed its eyes, glaring cautiously. The mandragoras still did not seem to realize what was happening. Then the attack came suddenly. Sasa lunged straight at the smallest one. Its claws clamped down firmly. The onlookers cheered. First strike blocked nice. The mandragoras are forming a triangle. Looks like they will defend first, then counterattack. Cheon Daonuan's eyes gleamed with anticipation. As expected, here comes the second's counterstrike. Sasa moved with lightning speed. Kim Nari gasped in surprise. It blocked with its tail, and it even looks like it is smiling, but it is still too early to relax. Cheon Daonuan, however, noted the shift in momentum. The tide could turn. The third one still in play. The third mandragora charged from behind. Sasa whirled around and took the blow with its body. Nam Ki-suk was stunned. You have got to be kidding, it is crying. Kim Nari's heart ached, and she rushed forward. It is probably just in shock. First time it has ever been hit. She hurried over, trying to soothe it. It is okay, calm down. Cheon Daonuan concluded without hesitation, the mandragoras win today. Nam Ki-suk exhaled heavily. Man, that was more tense than I expected. Gu, on the other hand, was thrilled. What a spectacular performance. Cheon Daonuan finally turned back to the others. That is enough for now. Back to work. Gu leaned forward seriously. Nam Ki-suk, get up. The boy groaned. Do you people even have a shred of humanity left? Meanwhile, far away across the vast ocean, the waves rolled in slow, steady swells. Suddenly, a figure darted swiftly across the horizon. Yubium soared with wide, powerful wings. His sharp eyes gleamed, and his presence radiated fierce pride. The long timber logs were stacked neatly, one atop another. Nam Ki-suk clutched a heavy log to his chest, running while panting hard, sweat dripping down his bare torso. Gu hovered nearby, smacking him across the head without a shred of mercy. Faster, more. Meanwhile, little Kim Nari puckered her lips in delight, happily dabbing paint all over the wooden beams. Her tiny hands swiped and smeared with enthusiasm as she chirped. More. Sasa sat close beside her, tilting its head, its reptilian eyes shining with the same childlike fascination. Cheon Daonuan, on the other hand, remained meticulous in his work, folding and stacking clothes one by one in the wardrobe. Somehow, this chore had quietly become his favorite task. That night, small clusters of clouds drifted slowly across the sky, while the moon rose high and full. By the next morning, the heavens were bright with blue skies, white clouds, and golden sunlight. On the ground lay Nam Ki-suk's old, tattered, grayish shirt, the one he had worn just yesterday. Finally, Nam Ki-suk knelt shirtless under the blazing sun, arms stretched skyward, screaming like a prisoner who had just been granted freedom. 2 days without sleep, it had been nothing short of hell. Now at last he was released. Tears and snot streamed down his face in messy rivers, his features twisted into an almost comical display of relief. He dropped to his knees before the fruits of his 2 days of labor, his expression equal parts despair and exhaustion. I did it. I followed Big Bro's orders. But, is this really okay? Cheon Daonuan appeared, arms crossed, studying the result with quiet satisfaction. You did well. Nam Ki-suk turned his head toward the voice, his face flickering between suspicion and hope. So, Big Bro actually thinks I did well. Kim Nari ran up beside him, leaned forward, and inhaled deeply. Wow, the whole closet smells like flowers. Nam Ki-suk blinked at her, dumbfounded. Flowers. He stopped worrying about the quality of his handiwork and closed his eyes to breathe in like she did. A calming fragrance wrapped around him, and he muttered thoughtfully, "Lavender. Yeah, this feels nice." With his eyes shut, the world faded away into nothing but scent. Once she would sniff to her heart's content, Kim Nari tilted her head curiously. "But why does it smell like flowers in here?" Cheon Daoneun replied with absolute confidence. "Because Gu picked special fragrant wood for you." Gu added matter-of-factly, "The clothes will smell good too." Even the mandragoras seemed to bask in the scent, wriggling as if in bliss. Sasa curled into a ball, clearly enjoying it as well. Watching Sasa snuggle in, Nam Ki-suk frowned. "Wait a second. Did we already decide its name is Sasa?" Kim Nari piped up quickly. "Uncle's the one who named it. But if we think of something better later, we can change it." Nam Ki-suk's face lit up with childlike excitement. "Then, what about Little Snake?" Cheon Daoneun pinched the bridge of his nose, too tired to argue. "Little Snake, really, that is your naming sense." And just when he thought he was done being exasperated, Kim Nari chirped happily, "Then I will call it Peep Peep." Cheon Daoneun groaned. "That is already taken. That is Gu's nickname." Inside the wardrobe, Gu stood tall, eyes sharp, steps heavy and deliberate, radiating a strangely regal air. Sensing the mood turning sour, Cheon Daoneun quickly steered the conversation elsewhere. Pinning his last hope on Gu, he asked, "Right, you said you have a proper name. What is it?" Gu answered with great enthusiasm, "My true name is Mountain Rock Horseshoe. It reflects my essence." Cheon Daoneun could only surrender in defeat. That is beyond saving. After a long back and forth, they settled it once and for all. "Let us just stick with Sasa." "Yes, that sounds good." "I like that name too," Kim Nari chimed in happily. With naming out of the way, Gu raised another point. "Now that the house expansion is done, what is our next step?" "Our next step, huh?" Cheon Daoneun searched his memory. "Ah," he said at last, recalling something from his recent trip to the human world. "I thought about this when I was there. Back then I lived alone, so I did not need to consider it. But now things are different." With a look of utter confidence, he presented his idea. "What about building a strong fence around the house? That way, even if I step out for a while, no one can just walk in." Nam Ki-suk glanced at the haphazard structure they dared to call a house. It had no door, no roof, nothing but rough walls. His face twisted in disbelief. "This house, honestly, I do not think anyone's going to dare come inside." Cheon Daoneun shook his head, rejecting that notion. "We can't assume that. A monster at S rank could show up. Or hunters might come for some reason." Gu followed up with a practical question. "Then we will need material both rich in mana and incredibly durable. Should we head toward the coast?" Deep beneath the ocean, there was said to be a gemstone that glowed a dazzling gold, surrounded by terrifying fish. Rumors spoke of stone harder than obsidian and golden quartz that shimmered in the dark. Cheon Daoneun imagined his dream home. "If we use that for the fence and place glowing stones along the ground, it will look beautiful. At night, it will feel like a cozy campsite." Decision made, he stood tall. "Good idea. Let us head to the coast right now." Kim Nari's eyes sparkled. "The beach, really yay," she cheered with unbridled excitement. In stark contrast, Nam Ki-suk's face turned pale green, his expression crumpling, as if he would just been handed a death sentence. "What, you are all planning to go?" "To the coast." His eyes rolled back, his face darkened, and blood dripped from his nose. "No way. Do you even know what kind of place that is, that place?" Right on cue, he launched into over-the-top theatrics, collapsing to his knees, one hand clutching his forehead as his body went limp like overcooked noodles. "Big bro, I think I should stay back. I need to release some mana." Cheon Daoneun looked at him, unimpressed, and sighed. "Fine. If we are late coming back, take care of the mandragoras for me." That was all Nam Ki-suk had been waiting for. He perked up instantly. "Yes, sir." But he still added a warning. "Even for you, big bro, be careful at the coast. That area is so dangerous it is forbidden for anyone below a rank." Nam Ki-seol was no longer joking around. His expression turned grim. He thought of the terrifying figure's half-beast. half-human that haunted his mind. More importantly, he muttered, were not there supposed to be two catastrophe-class monsters ruling that place, two of them? He went on, voice tight with unease. Big bro, you really do not know. They say those things are escaped chimera hunters from a research facility. From a long, long time ago. Up in the clear blue sky, the sound of voices carried heated, determined conversations. Their faces looked like birds, yet their bodies remained unmistakably human. Above, a monstrous eagle-like creature soared, grotesquely magnificent. Its wings stretched wide like those of a bat, and its muscular six-packed torso resembled that of a man. It circled high above, casting a vast shadow over the earth. Far below, three figures stood with eyes locked on the sky, as if searching for something. Suddenly, one of them spoke, his tone sharp with anticipation. Finally, it showed itself. Get the tracker ready. He pressed his hands together, conjuring a glowing golden circle of light that shimmered beautifully in midair. On it, someone else replied, rushing to assist. With practiced ease, the man hurled the glowing ring upward. It arced gracefully through the air before shooting straight toward the massive eagle-like beast. A thunderous boom erupted, and he shouted triumphantly, direct hit. But out of the smoke, the chimera burst forth, wings unfurled and undeterred. Confusion rippled through the group. Wait, are they running away? They are supposed to be catastrophe-class monsters. Guess all that talk was just a bunch of rumors. Should we chase them down now? Someone asked eagerly. Kim Tae-hun shook his head, calm but calculating. No. There are two of them. We will wait until they retreat back into their nest. The tracker's already attached, so there is no rush. Another voice, doubtful and unsettled, broke in. But, after 60 years, should not they be dead by now, or completely mutated into something unrecognizable? How the hell are they still in human form? An older man with a hardened face spoke up, his tone cold and dismissive. We will consider them failures, nothing more. His lips curled as he continued with conviction. Say what you will, but the creation of the chimera hunters remains humanity's greatest achievement. I won't let a couple of rejects stain that legacy. Today we erase them. A scout with binoculars suddenly stiffened. Wait, sir, something's wrong. What is it? The old man snapped. The scout's voice cracked with alarm. That thing. It is not fleeing. It is circling back. The eagle chimera's eyes blazed as it turned, locking onto its prey. In a flash, it dove, slicing through the air with lethal intent. The scout screamed, "It is coming straight for us." Deploy the shield, now, the commander bellowed. A defensive barrier sprang up just in time, the three hunters barely saved from being torn apart. The birdman creature pulled back, hovering at a distance. They had only a moment to breathe before a violent impact shattered the shield, completely, throwing all three of them sprawling across the grass. The chimera had made its point. It immediately soared away, vanishing into the sky. With a single strike, it had broken through their defenses. The old man's suspicion deepened. His jaw tightened, and he muttered under his breath, that flight pattern. It can't be. The birdman suddenly wheeled around, its razor-sharp talons flashing as it lunged. They had misjudged completely. Realizing danger was imminent, the old man roared in panic. What are you doing? Stop it. All of you, do not let it through. But before the creature could strike, a clear voice rang out. Do not bully the weak. Little Kim Nari leapt high, her tiny fist swinging straight at the massive bird. The eagle reacted instantly, folding its colossal wings in front of itself like a shield, blocking her blow with ease. In its mind, one word echoed: chimera. Kim Nari landed safely on the ground, facing the towering beast. Her face was scrunched up in defiance. Hey, Sparrow, stop picking on people. Cheon Daoneun did not echo her accusation. Instead, his tone was calm, almost amused. From where I am standing, it looks more like the other way around. Meanwhile, one of the subordinates handed a locator device to the squad leader, his hand trembling. Sir, I am picking up something mechanical nearby. The commander feigned ignorance. What are you talking about? Unaware of the man's intent, the subordinate rambled on nervously. Because the fee was so high, I slipped in an extra tracking device. So, that is why. Cheon Daoneun had witnessed everything. He sighed inwardly. The old saying was not wrong: do not fear strong enemies, fear stupid allies. Having seen and heard enough, he placed a hand gently on Kim Nari's head. His gaze hardened. So that locator, it was meant to track her. This is going to be trouble. His eyes drifted into the distance, voice low. Of all people, it had to be these guys. At his words, the bird man froze mid-flight, then descended with a heavy flap. Remember me. Its eyes widened, bright with recognition. Excitement rippled across its monstrous face. We shared a room. What is your number? Cheon Daonun's lips curved faintly. I did not think you would still be alive. Do not tell me. From behind, one of the hunters muttered uneasily, Sir, that one seems suspicious too. Forget it, the leader snapped. Fall back. Better safe than sorry. The group scrambled, doing their best to retreat quickly. The commander barked to his men. Get the unit ready, we are pulling out. Seeing them flee, Cheon Daonun called out, his voice firm. If those bastards escape, we are the ones who'll have problems. Clean up here first. The bird man chuckled quietly to itself. Yes, it really is him. A memory surfaced lying in a hospital bed, two mismatched arms strapped at his sides. One marked with the number 17, the other etched with 3B. And that scent, that unforgettable stench, only the two of them shared. Those arms had not belonged to anyone else. They had been the limbs of Cheon Daonun and Ubium, the fusions of the research facility, the Chimera experiments. Their scent was one and the same. It has been a long time, number 17, the bird man said softly. Cheon Daonun gave a faint smile, as if he had already known from the very beginning. 66 years ago, in the woods near the Tda research facility, flashlights cut bright arcs through the black canopy. Voices echoed through the trees. This way, grab them. He sprinted, carrying Jia on his back, desperate to get away from the men chasing them. The girl clung to his neck, cheeks flushed, her voice thin and bleary. Bro, I am so cold. He glanced at her and cursed inwardly of all times for the side effects to flare up. Why now? He pushed himself harder, ignoring the way branches tore his skin and made him bleed. Was this decision even right? He fought back tears and ran faster anyway, trying to steal a sliver of hope for Jia. Maybe, even if they killed him in the lab, leaving Jia behind would at least help her survive. She lay half asleep against his shoulder. If only she could transform all the way into a bird with those tiny wings she had now. She could not do anything to help. Sensing his panic, the girl used the last of her strength to reassure him. Your wings are warm, Hyung. I am okay. Keep running. He returned the encouragement, voice strained. Jia, hold on just a little longer. Once we are out of these woods, someone will help us. There had to be someone who could help. Then a light stabbed into his face, and he froze. Number 17, what are you doing here? Standing before him was Cheon Daonun, holding a flashlight, his face unreadable. Daonun did not give him time to ask questions. I heard at the lab today that your side effects are getting worse. You are about to be put on the disposal list. I came to warn you. His reprimand carried something like pity beneath it. You lunatic, always turning up at the worst moments to help. He continued, blunt. Even if you run, if you do not come back within 3 days, the trigger charm will detonate and kill you. Seems your sister still has not been marked for disposal. Would not it be better to stay at the lab and get the suppressant drugs? At least you would live another day, Daonun said. Hearing that, the other man's eyes hardened. He snapped, what would you know about how it feels? You do not have the side effects. You do not know what it is like to live like us. He remembered the endless days in the lab, the headaches that felt like they would split his skull. My head. My head. His jaw pressed her face into his shoulder and whispered, terrified, please, Hyung, let us run. She clung to him, tears streaming down her face. I want to live like before, even for just 1 day. Does it matter how long you live, or is it more important how you live? Returning to reality, he gently set Jia down against the base of a tree. Then he stepped aside, and a pair of wings tore through the fabric on his back, spreading wide. I want to live free, even if it is only for a single day. His eyes turned colder than ever, as if he had already made peace with his fate. Then stop talking nonsense, he said, voice steady. Come at me. Cheon Daonun just stood there, the same unreadable face, the same unfeeling gaze fixed on him without a word. Suddenly, behind Daonun, a swirling black void appeared. Seeing it, he froze in shock. A transfer stone. Where did you get that? Daonun spoke calmly. If we cross the gate to the demon realm, 2 outcomes are possible. 1, your human cells will corrode under demonic energy. 2, your monster cells will absorb it and awaken. His words painted vivid images of writhing humans screaming in agony, bodies twisting into grotesque monsters. Then Daonoon gestured to the rift. If you really meant what you just said, then this is the better choice, is not it? Even if you can't withstand the demonic energy and end up as a monster, at least you will live free until then. Because once you entered the demon realm, the lab's detonation charm would no longer function. He hesitated, frowning. Is there any way for a human to survive in the demon realm? Daonoon's expression did not change. A vision flashed of a human body glowing faintly from within, while shadows of miasma swirled around outside. In theory, if you could accumulate enough mana, you could shield both body and spirit from corruption. With your current power, it would be nearly impossible. But who knows what the future holds, right? I do not know why I am helping you, but... He did not finish. The pursuers from the lab were already closing in. Voices rang out, over there, a gate's been opened. Catch them. There was no more time. He hoisted Jia onto his back again and strode past Daonoon. I am going. But you know, we shared a room for 4 years and never even knew each other's names. I will go first. I am Yubium. And you, what is your name? Daonoon half turned, a faint smile flickering across his face. My name, huh? The name of mine is Cheon Daonoon. The moment those words left his lips, a hand suddenly reached out, dragging the two of them back into the present. Cheon Daonoon now stood face to face with the other three, his voice steely as he demanded, once more, what is my name? As if under hypnosis, the man answered without control, I do not know. Cheon pressed further. Then why am I here? The reply came again, just as hollow, I do not know either. Cheon then pointed toward the abyssal black hole yawning behind him. Perfect. Go inside. Forget everything that happened here. Step by step, the three obeyed, moving toward the darkness under his command. But Yubium suddenly hesitated, suspicion flaring. That scent. Did he use forgetting powder to erase my memories? In that instant, a massive golden flower bloomed across Cheon Daonoon's face, masking his expression. His voice was calm as he explained, correct. They implanted forgetting herb cells into my body about 3 hours ago. For roughly 3 hours before and after, all memory is erased completely. This is an A+ grade forgetting herb. And because I do not suffer from any side effects, they decided to fill me with all sorts of things like this. After you left, a lot has happened. Cheon's gaze sharpened. You are number 33. Your name is Yubium, is not it? Caught off guard, Yubium nodded, reluctantly acknowledging it. Surprising. I did not think you would remember. Just then, a tiny hand tugged at Cheon Daonoon's sleeve. Uncle. Kim Nari's wide eyes peered up at him. Are you really friends with that sparrow man? Yes, Cheon answered without hesitation. He belongs to the sparrow folk. The word instantly made Yubium bristle. Sparrow, of all things, we are a noble avian race, strong, broad-shouldered, magnificent, and yet in their mouths, I am reduced to some scrawny sparrow. Cheon smoothly steered the conversation. Are not the sparrow folk allies with the coconut tribe? Kim Nari's eyes lit up with delight. That is right, we are all allies. Coconut, allies. Yubium's mind spun in confusion as he tried to follow their nonsensical chatter. Before long, he realized this child truly believed in Cheon's words, and his head throbbed from the absurdity. Eventually, after a few more exchanges, Kim Nari seemed convinced that Yubium was no enemy. Bowing her head sincerely, she said, I am sorry, Mr. Sparrow. I thought you were a bad guy. The warm moment was immediately interrupted by a loud growl from her tiny stomach. Her face turned pitiful as she looked up again. But uncle, I am hungry. That broke the thread of conversation. Cheon turned toward Yubium. Yubium, where's your home? Do you have anything to eat? The longer Yubium stayed around these two, the more his brain tied itself in knots. Wait, what is this? Is that girl yours? Are you raising a child? What kind of roleplay are you two even doing? Their wandering led them to a quaint little beach, where nestled in the sand was a cocoon-like hut resembling a giant chrysalis. Kim Nari clapped her hands in wonder. So this is your house, Mr. Sparrow. The four of them, Cheon Daonoon, Kim Nari, Sasa, and Gus, settled on a mat while Yubium emerged carrying a tray piled high with food. The little girl, though starving, could not stop chattering. It really does look like a bird's nest. You are amazing, Uncle Sparrow. Yubium set the tray down. Here, try it. I can't promise it tastes good, but I grilled it myself. Added some hell avocado, tastes almost like the real thing. And a layer of red moss that tastes like chili paste. The spread looked so exquisite it could rival a five-star restaurant. Kim Nari's eyes shone as she gasped. So many giant clams. Even Cheon Daonoon glanced over and nodded in approval. Not bad at all. Instead of saying much, Gu just grabbed a bite and dove in. Let us see how it tastes. After one mouthful, Gu's cheeks flushed. His whole body trembled, as if he would wandered into a dream. The freshness hit him like the sea swallowing him, or him swallowing the sea. Kim Nari and Sasa were no less enchanted. Every chew made the clams seem to dance in their mouths. Cheon Daonoon tried a piece, and was pleasantly surprised as well. The red moss made it even better. Seeing everyone's reactions, Yubium puffed out his chest with pride. Surprised, that red moss is a universal seasoning. I am glad you like it. Eat slowly, he added. Suddenly, a wave of pain hit him, and Yubium had not had time to prepare. His body began to tremble. Cheon Daonoon noticed the change and watched intently. Kim Nari, blissfully unaware, scooped up her bowl and said, Uncle Sparrow, I want more of this. Will you make some again? Despite the pain, Yubium forced a smile. I am out of ingredients for today. What can we do? Undaunted, the little girl brightened. If I go catch clams myself, will you make it again? Surprised by her insistence, Yubium agreed, though cautioned her that clam hunting could be dangerous for a kid. Hearing that, the three snack-obsessed kids Kim Nari, Sasa, and Gu bolted for the water. Okay then, I will catch 10 so we can really feast. I think I have to eat that many to feel satisfied. The sea kept rolling, and with the kids out playing, the two men on the shore finally had some quiet to talk. While they enjoyed the breeze, Yubium's odd survival came up. He had been resurrected thanks to some immortal cells, and his life was understandably different from most. They chatted easily, chewing over whether Yubium planned to take revenge on the Tda lab. Sometimes, when I think about it, yeah, I wanna, he admitted. Kim Nari came up from the surf holding an enormous clam, startling Sasa and Gu on the shore. Yubium watched her for a moment, and then said, My life is not so bad now, so I want to take my time thinking about it. He stared off into the distance. When Cheon asked if he wanted vengeance, Yubium explained that all the charms on his body disappeared after his resurrection, but the rest of them still had detonator charms. If they return to the human world, they will explode. Cheon's face hardened. It looked like Yubium had regained control of his wings, though his mind was not entirely steady yet. Yubium finished quietly, I could change back, but I do not want to. Beneath the clear sky and above the restless sea, the two men's voices carried on the wind. Jia's face has changed, Yubium said. If I am the only one who still looks human, she will feel worse. For the first time in a while, Cheon Daonoon wanted answers to everything he had been holding inside. All right, he said. One more question, you know what I mean, do not you? That Yubium had at most a month left to live was something Daonoon already suspected. When Daonoon put it plainly, Yubium answered calmly, you figured it out. Still, a shadow of sadness crossed his features as memory rolled through him. Life here had been brutal at first, he admitted. I absorbed mana just to survive, he said. Then one day I felt the mana and the miasma inside me balance out. He told them how, over the years, that balance had given him a stretch of peace. Jia would sit beside him each day, taking in mana with him. But some time ago something went wrong. Jia's mana channel began to destabilize, and the miasma started to run wild. Jia clutched her chest in pain in his recollection. Yubium had been terrified when he saw her suffer. He pressed a hand to his own chest as he spoke. I tried to reopen her channel, but I accidentally damaged my own, he said, his voice trembling a bit. I can still hold on for now, but Joshi's been eating sleep-inducing fruit and has been asleep the whole time. Daonoon glanced at him. Understanding the unspoken implication, she would put herself into a coma on purpose to slow the rampage of the miasma. If the mana channel is injured, you can fix it with medicine made from mandragoras, Yubium said, sharper now. Do not you know that, you birdbrain?